Mian Mian, come to my room tonight for a drink with me, the role of concubine Xian is yours. You don't want your pretty face to be even a little made. Lu Mian Mian trembled slightly and was pushed forward twice by others. Lu Mian Mian took 2 steps back subconsciously, and someone laughed and sneered, Mr. Sheng, it seems that this female college student is toasting and not taking the penalty drink. Mr. Sheng, it's good for you to spread this word out. Where to put it? Don't be angry, Mr. Sheng, don't be angry, Mr. Sheng. A young woman quickly appeased her, and after hearing this, she turned her head and stared at Lu Mian Mian viciously, silently threatening her. Lu Mian Mian stood stiffly at the wine table, and the hand holding the wine glass began to tremble. She had just passed the college entrance examination and was preparing for her upcoming graduation trip. After packing up and salute, she casually opened a cool article in the entertainment industry. This novel is incomparably routine and the 3 views are not correct. The heroine, Mu Mingxiu, grew up in an orphanage. She stole money from kindergarten and cast needles, ruining the children's life. By chance, Mu Mingxiu entered the entertainment industry and met the 40-year-old actor He Suomu. He Suomu has a background in the underworld, and is well versed in the entertainment industry. No matter who sees him, he should politely call him Mu Yet. Under Mu Mingxiu's careful calculation, after the 2 were drunk, they dried up firewood and burned fire, and Mu Mingxiu climbed the high branch of He Suomu from then on. With the help of He Suomu, Mu Mingxiu jumped to the top of the first T-line celebrity in just 3 years, becoming the top traffic in China, and can be called a winner in life. He Suomu was captured by Mu Mingxiu, and he was willing to do all the bad things for her with cruel methods. After Lu Mian Mian saw that He Suomu ordered the murder for Mu Mingxiu's sake, she couldn't help closing the page any longer, and complained fiercely on the moments. The cannon fodder female supporting role named Lu Mian Mian is really pitiful. Even the boy who quietly helped Lu Mian Mian was not spared. After staying up all night and waking up, what she saw was not the room she was familiar with. The strong and irritating smell of the hospital disinfectant gave her a headache. She walked into a bar and had half a glass of wine, and she couldn't remember what happened after that. Until I was called here by a fierce phone call. When Lu Mian Mian recalled, the young woman who stepped forward to appease President Sheng turned back and grasped Lu Mian Mian's wrist. Mian Mian, please apologize to President Sheng, it's just to accompany President Sheng for a glass of wine. President Sheng, I won't eat you again. You let go. Lu Mian Mian was sore from her grasp and began to struggle. Seeing that she didn't know what to do, the young woman forcibly caught her in front of Mr. Sheng. She took a full glass of wine on the table and gave it to Lu Mian Mian, quickly toast Mr. Sheng to make amends. She lowered her voice and said beside Lu Mian Mian's ear, if you still want to stay in the circle, you should listen to me obediently, otherwise you will look good in the future. Lu Mian Mian held the wine glass, and the aged woman let go of her and took 2 steps back. The roar rang in Lu Mian Mian's ear, she clenched the glass tightly and did not move. The atmosphere froze. Duan Jianzhou walked beside him, his hands in his pockets, his face was indifferent, and his face was full of dandy. Behind the 2, there was a young man wearing a black short tee. He looked young and even a little green, with a face that was not awake. His face was clean and his facial features were handsome. The black hair on his forehead glanced to the sides. Also with a bit of unruly and aloofness. The boy is very tall, about 1.8 meters, and looks very thin, like a gust of wind can blow him down. His skin was cold and white, and he suddenly appeared in the messy room, looking out of place. Like a high school student who inadvertently broke in, he exudes an immortal aura that does not eat human fireworks. He raised his eyebrows and smiled, Yo, what is Mr. Sheng doing? Bullying other people's little girls. Mr. Sheng hurriedly smiled and said, how dare I just want to invite her to have a drink with me. I didn't know Master Zhou was here. Mr. Sheng gritted his teeth secretly, how did he recruit Zhou Shengming and Duan Jianzhou, 2 lifeless little lunatics? Zhou Shengming is a century-old family of the Zhou family. Their ancestors were old generals who served the country. After several generations of marriages, they have flourished and flourished. Their kinship relationships are either rich or powerful, but they are not comparable to local businessmen like them. Duan Jianzhou, the Duan family and the Zhou family are family friends. Since the marriage of the previous generation, they have become more intimate, and the military and political integration has been strengthened. Even if Zhou Shengming and Duan Jianzhou mess up again and cause trouble again, those who are provoked have to politely apologize to them. Not to mention that these two boys are more idiots than the other. It was the unknown teenager beside them, who was often with them, vaguely like their sidekick. Shen Shenxing lifted his eyelids and looked at the center of the private room. Lu Mian was holding the wine glass in confusion, with the small expression of a grieved Baba that he was about to cry. Although Lu Mian can't be called charming, she is pure and bright. The standard melon seed face is small and delicate, her white skin is almost transparent under the bright light, her eyebrows are curved, and she looks at people with a pair of wet almond eyes. I feel pity. The girl was wearing a white dress, her long black hair fell behind her shoulders, and her slender legs were shiny and white. Her hand holding the wine glass trembled slightly, and her pupils were filled with anxiety. Zhou Shengming found a place to sit down at will. Of course I'm here to play, Mr. Sheng, what are you playing, tell us so that we can play too. He greeted the unknown boy to sit down. Master Shen, sit here. Shen Shenxing did not speak, but raised his feet and sat near Lu Mian. Zhou Shengming raised his eyes. This girl is indeed good-looking, she is pitiful, well-behaved and sweet, like the goddess of first love who was hidden deepest in her heart and most obsessed with her. After hearing the 3 words of young Master Shen, someone finally remembered the identity of a teenager. Shen Shenxing, Shen Lei, the chairman of the Shen family, is a stray. In recent years, he has just found his illegitimate son who has returned to his ancestors. The Shen family has a great business, and the real estate industry is in full swing. The Shen family has already announced an heir, Shen Hanshi. The mother of Mrs. Shen Li Lin was afraid that Shen Shenxing would compete with her grandson for the family property. In the end, Shen Lei had no choice but to send Shen Shenxing to live outside, saying that he was an illegitimate child of the Shen family, but he couldn't even return to the Shen family. It was already a joke in the wealthy circle. Lu Mian felt that the boy's name sounded familiar. She glanced at Zhou Shengming and Duan Jianzhou, the 2 sons and brothers. They really didn't look like good people. Only this young man sat quietly and looked more beautiful than most girls. The teenager sat near her, drooping his eyelids as if he was about to doze off. After greeting the 2 young masters, Mr. Sheng, who had a big belly and a bald head, did not forget Lu Mian, who was standing. Lu Mian stepped back alertly and pulled away. She gritted her teeth, looked at Shen Shenxing for a while, raised her feet and approached carefully. Brother, you're here. The girl's soft and tender voice was not too loud or too small, just enough for everyone present to hear it clearly. Zhou Shengming almost spit out a sip of wine, and looked at Lu Mian and Shen Shenxing in horror, his gossip eyes circling around the 2 of them, looking strange. Brother? This little goddess of first love is actually called Shen Shenxing, the little brother of Yan Wang? Duan Jianzhou's face, as steady as Mount Tai, rarely showed signs of cracking. It's not that there is no opposite called brother Shen Shenxing, but in the end there will be no good end. Do you think that if you call this little Hades big brother, little Hades will save you from the stench of Mr. Sheng? Shen Shenxing stayed up all night for company affairs yesterday, and was so sleepy now that he was about to sit down and make up for a good night's sleep, when the girl's soft and tender brother called out, his heart condition trembling reflexively. He lifted his eyelids, and that night she was drunk and forced to stick it up, but she couldn't pull it off. Later, she cried and lay on the bed begging for mercy, calling her brother. Her voice was hoarse. Shen Shenxing didn't let her go. On a night of indulgence and confusion, she had a graceful figure with long hair and danced lightly, and her innocent face was beautiful and charming, which was completely different from her cowardly appearance now. Shen Shenxing answered calmly. Lu Mian breathed a sigh of relief, and before she could put down the wine glass, she immediately grabbed Shen Shenxing's arm, for fear that he would run away. Like a weak, pitiful, and helpless kitten, she grabbed Shen Shenxing's life-saving straw. She said softly, "Brother, I want to go home." Zhou Shengming and Duan Jianzhou were already stunned, but little Hades didn't lift her to the ground. "The sun is coming out in the west?" Shen Shenxing stood up under the inquiring eyes of a group of people, with a straight back. "Let's go." He didn't even say hello, and left as quietly as when he came in. Zhou Shengming and Duan Jianzhou saw that he was gone, and they didn't bother to stay here any longer. The two caught up with Shen Shenxing and Lu Mian, enthusiastic. "Come here, little sister, where do you live? My brother will drive you back." Lu Mian was frightened by their enthusiasm, and subconsciously approached Shen Shenxing. The girl's soft body was close, and the faint scent of perfume came over. The fragrance was elegant. The two little hands that were holding him squeezed slightly, nervously. Shen Shenxing glanced at the two of them. Zhou Shengming and Duan Jianzhou looked inexplicable, but fortunately Duan Jianzhou responded quickly and pulled Zhou Shengming to find a reason to leave. After walking out of the clubhouse, Lu Mian released him, bowed her head and apologized. "I'm sorry, and thank you for taking me out just now." The boy did not speak. His dark eyes stared at her for a moment. Lu Mian didn't get a response. She raised her head and held her little hand nervously. "I wonder if I can invite you to dinner to thank you." Gloomy face, dark eyes, fierce and wild. Lu Mian's back was against the cold wall, her heartbeat was so fast that it was about to fall. The boy hung his head, his handsome face was close at hand, and the warm breath fell on her eyelashes. Lu Mian put a sticker on the wall, "If you don't want to eat, I..." Shen Shenxing squinted her eyes slightly. It seems that she can't remember it at all. She can't remember the day when she dragged him into the hotel to try to beat the king, and she can't remember the first time she got drunk. She cried and asked him to be responsible, and dragged him to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get a marriage certificate. Shen Shenxing chuckled and said in a lazy tone, "Repay me with your body." "Hey!" Lu Mian was stunned. She subconsciously covered her chest and said with her eyes that she didn't expect you to be such a person. Shen Shenxing was angrily laughed at by her. He let go of Lu Mian and turned to leave. After walking a few steps, he found that Lu Mian hadn't followed, so he frowned and turned back. "Let's go quickly." "Where? Didn't you say you wanted to invite me to dinner to thank me? Didn't you say you don't eat?" Lu Mian's spit in her chest turned into a slander. She quickly raised her feet to catch up with Shen Shenxing. When walking beside him, she did not forget to put her head down and organize her clothes, covering everything that could be covered. "Poker face." Lu Mian raised her head and asked him, "Where to eat?" The boy put his hands in the pockets of dark jeans, and his long and narrow eyes were half covered by his eyelids, making him look a little cool and thin. It was getting dark. Lu Mian and Shen Shenxing stood on the side of the road and hired a taxi to go back to school. Lu Mian's class WeChat group chat is lively, while talking about the upcoming military training, while talking about the precautions for military training, it is in full swing. The taxi driver is a chatty old master. He saw Lu Mian nervously playing with his mobile phone in the rear-view mirror, while the teenager was sleeping with a blank face. "I still like to be bored in my heart. In fact, if you have something to say, just say it." Lu Mian was stunned for half a second, then she quickly waved her hand. "Uncle is not, we." Lu Mian explained with a blushing face, and Shen Shenxing, who seemed to be asleep, suddenly opened his eyes and stared at her with a half-smile. Neatly trimmed, and a small and lovely crescent moon. Lu Mian's skin was very white and thin, almost transparent, and she wanted to gently pierce it with her sharp teeth and her beautiful blood. Lu Mian blushed, eyes full of panic, and explained crampedly, "Uncle, it's really not, you misunderstood. The driver glanced at Shen Shenxing, take your breath, your little girlfriend is about to say goodbye to you, we men should be more open-minded, husband and wife quarrel at the head of the bed, there's nothing wrong with it. The more she said it, the more outrageous she became. Lu Mian opened her mouth, not knowing how to clear the uncle driver's misunderstanding. Although the young man beside him was dressed simply, the nobility and elegance reflected in his beautiful eyes could not be faked. Lu Mian was a little flustered when she remembered President Sheng's polite attitude towards Zhou Shengming and Duan Jianzhou before. Lu Mian pretended to look at the scenery outside the window, isolating Shen Shenxing from her eyes that had been entangled in her. Shen Shenxing could see her trembling eyelashes, long and curled, thick and beautiful like a small fan. She stretched out her tongue and licked her lower lip lightly, a little nervous and a little uneasy. The licked lips were plump and full, and she wanted to take a bite, trying to catch her fierce kiss. Shen Shenxing retracted his gaze and scolded lightly in his heart. His mind slid over the appearance of a girl that night, and his dark eyes flickered slightly. The driver felt good about himself and thought he had done a great deed. He nodded with satisfaction, that's right, nowadays young people are quarreling, and they like to leave their little boyfriend to run around at every turn, this society is in danger. Lu Mianmian's ears almost froze, the driver's nagging level was on par with her father's. After talking for a long time, the driver still looked at each other's scenery when he saw the two of them. He didn't want to pay attention to each other's appearance. He couldn't help but turn his head, since you are all reconciled, why don't you hold your girlfriend's hand to coax? The person he looked at was Shen Shenxing. Shen Shenxing didn't move, he persuaded bitterly, would you like to hold a hand? If you don't hold it now, she'll be sure to stop after I stop. Open the door and run away, it's not safe to run around in the middle of the night. Lu Mian did have the urge to scramble for the door and run away, and her face was so red that she was about to bleed. N. Shen Shenxing responded lazily, holding Lu Mianmian's hand. Lu Mian subconsciously hid, the man's hand clenched tightly, she was caught by him before she could retract hold tightly. Is this okay? Shen Shenxing asked the driver, who nodded in satisfaction. Yes, of course. But Lu Mian was dying. She was so nervous that her palms were sweating. Shen Shenxing's hands were dry and warm, but now they became wet under her influence. Lu Mianmian's hands were stiff and did not dare to move, and half of her arms were numb. Seeing that she wanted to cut off his hand on the spot, Shen Shenxing made a soft ha sound, which was particularly clear in the silent car. Lu Mian froze again, do you despise her sweating a lot? Lu Mian tried his best to retract his hand, Shen Shenxing frowned, suddenly hugged her shoulders, and brought her whole to him, his arm resting on Lu Mianmian's shoulder, holding down the girl's stiff body, do not move. The last few minutes of the journey were like years for Lu Mian. The young man has the fragrance and clean smell of laundry detergent on his body is hot, and the body temperature is transmitted through the thin cloth. The distance was too ambiguous, she could even hear Shen Shenxing's shallow breathing, and could feel the strong beating of his heart. The hands on the shoulders are large and strong. When the taxi drove to the small road where the back door was being renovated, the hands firmly protected her, preventing her from being bumped by the car. After the taxi stopped, Lu Mian immediately opened the door and rushed out, leaning over the trash can and retching. Shen Shenxing paid the fare, and the driver asked with concern, is your little girlfriend okay? Shen Shenxing hooked his lips, it's okay. Lu Mian vomited sore throat, but vomited nothing. Shen Shenxing clicked his tongue, took out a tissue, and after she stood up straight, handed the tissue to her. Lu Mian took it and thanked weakly, thank you. Her black hair was messy, covering her delicate and small face, which was very white and looked uncomfortable. Shen Shenxing nodded indifferently, and Lu Mian took him to choose a hot pot restaurant. Shen Shenxing glanced at the name of the restaurant. This hot pot restaurant is a well-known internet celebrity restaurant. The taste is authentic and spicy. Even after 10 o'clock in the evening, there are still many people sitting in the restaurant. Lu Mian sniffed the enticing smell and swallowed her saliva. It was difficult for the two of them to find a place. Fortunately, a couple just checked out and left. The seat was against the window. There is a menu on the table. Lu Mian hands the menu to him. You order it. Shen Shenxing didn't answer. I'll do whatever. Lu Mian had no choice but to look down at the menu. She asked Shen Shenxing, should the bottom of the pot be slightly spicy, medium spicy, spicy, or a mandarin duck pot? It's fine. Shen Shenxing replied. Lu Mian had never tasted authentic hot pot. She was very sincere, and Shen Shenxing glanced at it and said nothing. After ordering, Lu Mian showed it to him, but Shen Shenxing directly handed the menu to the waiter. It was embarrassing when the dishes were served. Shen Shenxing didn't speak. He stared at Lu Mian motionless, as if he had found a strange switch. The longer he looked at it, the redder Lu Mian's face became. There are people around the table who recognize him and take pictures of their table with their mobile phones. Shen Shenxing turned his head, but found that someone was shooting Lu Mian. The boy suddenly stood up. Lu Mian raised his head subconsciously. Shen Shenxing sat next to her with a stool, blocking the best angle for those people to take pictures. There happened to be a green plant beside them. After Shen Shenxing sat over, Lu Mian was blocked by 7 or 8 points. Looking at the girl's questioning gaze, he casually replied, "There's smoke over there." Lu Mian suddenly realized. The two stayed silent for a few minutes. After the dish was almost ready, Shen Shenxing took the initiative to take the dish and put the dish in gently without splashing a drop of oil. Lu Mian thinks that he is not as playful as Zhou Shengming and Duan Jianzhou. Although he always seems to be awake, he has a good personality and is a meticulous gentleman. Her body and mind gradually relaxed, and she took the initiative to find a topic. I really thank you for what happened before, but that Mr. Sheng doesn't seem like a good person. Will he cause you trouble? Yes. Shen Shenxing said. He didn't play cards according to the routine. Lu Mian was stunned for a while, but he didn't react. With a frivolous smile in the boy's narrow eyes, she remembered that in front of the clubhouse he had pushed himself against the wall and said that he wanted to repay her with his body. Lu Mian pursed her blushing lips, not knowing how to answer. Shen Shenxing smiled, but not much. The nervous girl immediately breathed a sigh of relief and her body relaxed again. Shen Shenxing took the juice from the waiter and said to her, "The meatballs are ready." Lu Mian picked one up and put it in the oil dish. The ball was very hot. She took a small bite and put it in her mouth and breathed, and after eating it with difficulty, it burned along her throat until her stomach inside. Lu Mian took a sip of the juice, raised her fingers to wipe away the overflowing tears, and whispered, "The bottom of the spicy pot is not very spicy. Her eyes are very beautiful, she will be misty when she cry, pear blossoms with rain, like the lake surface in the mist in the morning, clear and bright." Shen Shenxing looked over and Lu Mian explained embarrassedly, "It's just too hot." Shen Shenxing hummed and continued to eat. Lu Mian looked at him quietly. Why is he not afraid of spicy food? After eating a hot pot, Lu Mian's eyes were red from crying, and the tip of her nose was red and her lips were shiny and charming. After paying the bill, Lu Mian walked out of the hot pot restaurant holding her stomach with difficulty. Before she took 2 steps, she realized that something was wrong. "My stomach hurts like a needle stick, my stomach is burning hot, and I can't lift my legs. It doesn't feel like I'm bloated after eating too much, but it's like I've tossed my body." Lu Mian bent over in discomfort, leaning against the wall and not leaving. Shen Shenxing looked over, her face was terrifyingly white, her forehead was covered in cold sweat, and her wrist against the wall trembled. He immediately picked her up. Lu Mian was not feeling well, she had no strength to struggle, and leaned obediently in the youth's clear arms. Zhou Shengming and Duan Jianzhou were about to go back to the dormitory just after having a blast. When they saw Shen Shenxing, Zhou Shengming rolled down the car window and whistled, "Little hell, what are you doing here in the middle of the night?" Duan Jianzhou looked at Lu Mian, who was crying with discomfort in his arms, and joked, "Little hell, why did you bully others and cry? Open the door." Shen Shenxing was too lazy to pay attention to him, walked down the steps and kicked the door. Zhou Shengming hurriedly got down and opened the car door. Shen Shenxing went in with Lu Mian in his arms, his voice lowered, "Go to the hospital." "What?" Zhou Shengming turned his head and glanced at Lu Mian, his eyes filled with you. Shen Shenxing glanced at him, and the car rushed out like an arrow. Zhou Shengming stepped on the accelerator madly, and did not forget to ask, "What happened to her?" "It's spicy." Shen Shenxing hugged her, raised his hand to wipe the cold sweat off her face. Lu Mian was so uncomfortable that she couldn't straighten her body, her brain was buzzing and she couldn't hear how many people were there. What to discuss? All she could feel was the strong arm hugging her tightly, and a warm hand wiping the perspiration for her. The smell of hot pot permeated the car. Zhou Shengming and Duan Jianzhou were at a loss for words. Lu Mian hung up the emergency room, and the three handsome playboys stood outside the door, staring at the lighted sign, silent for a while. After being pushed out, Lu Mian didn't dare to look into Shen Shenxing's eyes, and just whispered thank you and sorry. Zhou Shengming hurriedly answered her, "It's all right, it's just a little effort, anyway, when we go back to the dormitory, we are also playing games. I can send you here." Lu Mian was transferred to the hospital bed by the nurse, with a drip on the back of her hand, and there was a faint pain where the needle pierced the skin. Zhou Shengming was nervous, and sat on the hospital bed. "How are you feeling now? Are you still uncomfortable?" "I'm much better, thank you." Lu Mian didn't dare to look at anyone, staring straight at the vase in the corner, her delicate white ears slightly red. Zhou Shengming was so excited that Shen Shenxing brought him up before he had time to talk more. "Go back." "Xiao Yan." Under Shen Shenxing's gaze, he closed his mouth angrily and left. The ward was too quiet, and Lu Mian felt 10,000 regrets in her heart. She overestimated the endurance of her stomach and the ruthlessness of the old hot pot. "Even if you want to eat, only order the Mandarin duck pot. Tomorrow military training," Shen Shenxing said. Lu Mian returned to her senses, wondering how he knew. However, she was relieved quickly, and it was not difficult to guess that she was a freshman. She nodded, "Yet. It's so late, go back to bed first," she said. Seeing that he has been wanting to sleep for a long time, tonight because of himself, his time has been delayed again and again, and he should be very sleepy by now. Shen Shenxing returned her mobile phone and bag to her. "Please ask your guide for leave, I won't be there tomorrow." Lu Mian still wanted to say, but Shen Shenxing handed her the list, "Take a picture and ask." Lu Mian obediently did as she did, and after asking for leave, she spoke again in the small group in the dormitory, but no one responded. After sending the message, Lu Mian was a little sleepy and fell asleep unconsciously on the bed. He seemed to be having trouble even falling asleep. Shen Shenxing leaned against the wall lazily. He looked at Lu Mian for a while, and finally lowered his head and looked away, lifted the quilt and lay on the bed beside him. Although he hadn't slept all night last night, he couldn't sleep when he closed his eyes. She really can't remember what happened before? Her marriage certificate is still in her bedroom bag. When Lu Mian woke up, the room was empty, but the nurse came in to remind her that she could go. Lu Mian said thank you, and just after putting on her shoes, the sleepy-looking boy pushed open the door, and she bent over for a while. Shen Shenxing raised his eyebrows. From this angle, he could see the girl's soft lines. He looked away, awake. Shen Shenxing said nothing, took her to eat some porridge, and finally sent her to the downstairs of the girls' dormitory. Shen Shenxing raised his chin slightly, put his hands in his pockets, and motioned her to go up. Lu Mian responded, turned, and walked towards the door of the dormitory. Shen Shenxing stood lazily on the spot, squinting her eyes. The girl took 2 steps, suddenly turned around and trotted back. Lu Mian looked him in the eyes. You helped me so much yesterday, I don't have your contact information. The boy looked at her for a while. Give me the phone. Lu Mian hurriedly handed him the phone with only 1% battery left. Shen Shenxing entered a string of numbers, added the contact and returned the phone to Lu Mian. Go back. She took the phone, the weak battery just completed her mission, and the shutdown screen came into view. Lu Mian held the phone, bowed to him, and quickly walked into the dormitory building. The housekeeper aunt asked her a few questions. After Lu Mian explained, she pressed the elevator to go upstairs. The dormitory is close to the playground. After charging the phone, Lu Mian opened the window and looked out. There was no sign of Shen Shenxing downstairs. She retracted her head and leaned against the window in a daze. Shen Shenxing, the name is very familiar, but where did you hear it? Lu Mian turned on her phone and clicked on contacts, and after a while, she finally found a suspicious phone number that was suspected to be Shen Shenxing, with the note as Brother Shen. She decisively changed it to a person who seems to have heard the name. Lu Mian's stomach was still a little uncomfortable. She washed her head and showered and stayed in the dormitory to rest. After checking her various documents and information, she found that the age on her ID card turned out to be 20 age. At lunchtime, the roommate from the military training came back. Cheng Xin is a cheerful girl who is 1.8 meters tall. She has a more manly personality. Yin Li is a small one. The dormitory is a quadruple room, and Chu Ru has not come back. Uncomfortable. Yin Li followed with a concerned look. Mian, we were already asleep when you sent the message last night, and I'm sorry for not replying to you in time. It's fine. Lu Mian smiled and shook her head. I'm afraid you guys are worried. I didn't pay attention to the time when I sent the message. I'm much better now. Cheng Xin sat on the stool and raised her chin slightly just to look at Lu Mian. You said yesterday that you had something to do at night. Why are you still in the hospital? Lu Mian's ears were red, and she pinched her clothes embarrassedly. I ate spicy hot pot outside when I came back. The two of them understood, laughed, and joked. The mild spicy here is equivalent to the spicy one in your place. Your newborn calf is not afraid of the tiger ordering the spicy pot bottom, and it is strange not to go to the hospital. A local person can't stand the spicy pot bottom. The three chatted and laughed. Cheng Xin invited her to go out to lunch together. Lu Mian touched her stomach and did not refuse. I haven't seen Chu Ruren, Cheng Xin whispered. She's just jealous of your beauty, don't pay attention to her. Whoever lives in the dormitory hasn't met a strange person yet. Yesterday she said something about you in a strange way. If I had slapped you earlier, you would have a good temper. It was lunchtime, and the restaurant near the school was full of people. With a wave of Cheng Xin's hand, she took the two to an old shop in the distance. The decoration of the old shop is simple, there are not many people, and the environment is quiet and quiet. Cheng Xin said, this is a good place for local people to know. Like those freshmen, if they didn't lead the way, they would definitely not know about it. After chatting for a while, someone sat down in the back seat. Just as Lu Mian wanted to turn back, she heard Yin Li whisper in her ear, don't look back. Lu Mian froze, not knowing why. Yin Li coughed and blushed, the seniors of our school are sitting behind, they are watching you. After listening, Lu Mian relaxed and let them watch. Zhou Shengming lowered his voice slowly, little Yan Wang, is that the little sister you accepted yesterday? It looks like our school girl. Shen Shenxing glanced at him and said nothing. Zhou Shengming didn't seem to know what danger was, and continued to say cheaply, should we go over and fight for a table? After all, I'm an acquaintance. I even took her to the hospital yesterday. Oh Duan Jianzhou, you dare to beat Dad? Duan Jianzhou drank tea quietly, not giving him one. The people at the back table settled down. Yin Li asked Lu Mian in a low voice, Mian, how long have you been on leave? Half a day. The instructor only gave her half a day's leave, and she had to get dressed for military training in the afternoon. The sun in September was scorching hot, and she was sweating profusely after standing for a while, but Lu Mian had several sunscreens in her suitcase, which was enough to support her. When Cheng Xin was about to pay after the meal, the boss smiled and told the three, someone has given you money. Who? You guys across the table. Why did they invite us? Lu Mian asked, how did the boss know, and smiled politely at her. Cheng Xin and Yin Li looked thoughtful. After arriving at the dormitory, it was only half an hour before the military training in the afternoon. At that time, the sleep-eyed Lu Mian was woken up by Cheng Xin. Before she could take a sip of water, she was dragged out of the dormitory in a hurry. When she ran to the side of the playground, Lu Mian was blinded by the sun. When she squinted and ran to the corner, she plunged her head into the boy's hard chest. The pause button was pressed all around, and all the noise was gone, even the hand that Cheng Xin was holding her was missing. Lu Mian rubbed her forehead and raised her head. Shen Shenxing bent over expressionlessly, his eyes level with her, you hurt me. Lu Mian clasped her hands together subconsciously and placed them in front of her, and said dryly, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, it's over. Shen Shenxing squinted his long and narrow eyes, his eyes were hooked inward and outward, and the ends of his eyes were slightly upward, like a lazy cat with messy black hair. The forehead was finely broken, and the sun was shining faintly. Shen Shengxing's dark eyes clearly reflected Lu Mian's nervous and beautiful appearance. Lu Mian was stunned for a while, then asked without a thought, are you awake? Zhou Shengming burst out laughing. He pulled Shen Shenxing up, brother Shen, why are you bullying my sister? Shen Shenxing straightened his back and glanced at him, why didn't I know she became your sister? I just recognized it, my sister called my brother, listen. Cheng Xin slapped her hand, old rascal. Lu Mian was pulled away by Cheng Xin. Before leaving, she looked back at Shen Shengxing's face, which seemed a little dark. She retracted her neck, and Cheng Xin reminded her in her ear, Zhou Shengming and Duan Jianzhou are famous playboys, don't get close to them. What about Shen Shenxing? Shen Shenxing. Cheng Xin changed her dislike just now, and her tone was somewhat admirable. He is different, he is omnipotent, handsome, has a clean life, has a clean history, excellent grades, and has always been a first-class scholarship recipient of the college, and has also won many awards. Certificates. We have many schools. Girls like him, and I heard that since he entered college, people have confessed to him every day, but no one has ever succeeded. I don't know which girl's pomegranate skirt he will bow down to in the future. Cheng Xin changed the topic. Actually, many people speculate that he is calcium. Because of Zhou Shengming? Lu Mian asked. Because he's handsome or a mother's solo. The instructor whistled, signaling everyone to stand up and stop talking. Lu Mian stood upright, thinking that it is unlikely that Shen Shenxing is calcium, and he was joking like that yesterday. She remembered the appearance of the teenager molesting her, and her eyes fell on Shen Shenxing, who was leaning on the iron net and looking here. Seeing her looking over, Zhou Shengming excitedly talked to Shen Shenxing, and Shen Shenxing responded occasionally, still with that lazy look. Lu Mian thought, standing under the sun, doesn't he feel sunburned? The instructor's hand waved in front of her, and Lu Mian looked at it blankly. The instructor was a dark-skinned young man named Shi. Instructor Shi followed her gaze, saw the three of them, and asked, is the senior good-looking? Lu Mianmian's heart trembled, she looked straight ahead and dared not answer. There was laughter around, and a female classmate answered loudly, "It's beautiful." "Shut up." Lu Mianmian was fined 5 sets of frog jumping. Lu Mianmian was panting, and her white cheeks revealed a sweet crimson. Lu Mianmian's figure is perfectly proportioned, the swan neck exposed outside the clothes is elegant and slender, and the belt ties her waist, which protrudes from the graceful curve of her chest. Her legs were thin and long, and her trousers were empty, petite, and cute. She punished her seriously, and the freshman from the boys' camp next door was stunned. Shen Shenxing watched quietly for a few minutes, then turned and raised his feet. Zhou Shengming chased after him, "You ruthless man, you were punished by the instructor because of you, but you sneaked away." Shen Shenxing stopped, "Then you go." "Go for what?" "Buy water, room temperature. You are limited to come back within 3 minutes." After Lu Mianmian returned to the team after 5 groups of frog leaps, her legs trembled and she almost became unsteady. Cheng Xin and Yin Li were far away from her because of their height, and there was no one to support her. Lu Mianmian gasped, gritted her teeth stubbornly, and when instructor Shi called to rest, Lu Mianmian's legs went soft, her head suddenly disappeared from the crowd, and she fell to the ground. Cheng Xin and Yin Li ran over with concern, one wiped her sweat and the other fanned her. "Mian, are you okay?" Lu Mian shook her head, her lips were pale, her brain was buzzing, and she was out of breath. This body is more delicate than Lu Mian imagined, this is probably not military training, but wants her to die. Lu Mianmian's countless beautiful longings for military training were shattered and disappeared in just a few hours. A female classmate came over with 3 bottles of water. She looked at Lu Mianmian enviously. "Mian, this is the water that the senior gave you." "Senior?" Lu Mianmian raised her head, the female classmate pointed to the side, the 3 of them followed her finger to look over. Shen Shenxing turned around and walked slowly, but Zhou Shengming returned shyly blow a kiss. Lu Mianmian was too thirsty, she said thank you and took the water. Find out her mobile phone and search for the mobile number and add Shen Shengxing's WeChat. When the other party passed the friend application, she immediately transferred $6 to Shen Shenxing, "Thank you for your water." Shen Shenxing sat in the dormitory, looked at the $6 transfer information in the dialog box, sighed softly, and confiscated it. Since that day, Shen Shenxing never appeared in front of her again. After a week of training, Lu Mianmian was already a little flower, sitting weakly in the shade to rest. Lu Mianmian's skin was snow white, and her fair skin was tanned red, and it hurt a little to touch it with her fingers. She and Cheng Xi and Yinlai sat on the steps, resting and rubbing medicine. A sunny and handsome male classmate ran over and handed 3 bottles of water embarrassedly. The 2 of them were not surprised. In the past few days, male classmates often came over to deliver things to Lu Mianmian. Although they didn't express it clearly, the meaning in their eyes was obvious. Lu Mianmian pointed to the water next to her, "Sorry, we already have water." The boy scratched his head embarrassedly, he mustered his courage and said, "Mian, I like you very much, be my girlfriend. I will give you my best." "Sorry." Lu Mianmian rejected the other party, and the male classmate left sadly and frustratedly. Yin Li whispered, "He joined the English club. I heard that he is a university tyrant and a liberal arts champion. If you don't even like him, what kind of boy do you like?" Lu Mianmian didn't care, she casually said, "The muscles all over the body, the back is strong, and it looks like a gorilla." Shen Shenxing paused, Zhou Shengming couldn't help laughing. The 3 of them turned around, he pointed at Shen Shenxing and laughed, "Brother Shen, you are out of the game." Duan Jianzhou covered his mouth and pulled him away. Shen Shenxing squinted his eyes gliding lightly over Lu Mianmian, who was full of embarrassment. "Didn't expect you to like that." Lu Mianmian shrank in conscience and continued to apply the medicine. Chu Ru spoke yin and yang beside him, but just pretend. Some people like to pretend to be innocent, and seduce this one today and seduce that tomorrow. Cheng Xin turned her head. Chu Ru, please pay attention to your words. Chu Ru sneered and sneered, what's wrong with me? I'm telling the truth. When Chu Ru left, a faint shameless could be heard. Yin Li comforted, Mian, don't be angry, she is just jealous of your good looks, we ignore her. Since entering the dormitory, I haven't seen her speak normally, and she is afraid that there is something wrong with her brain. Even Yin Li couldn't stand her. Chu Ru was in the dormitory every day and it was beyond words. Lu Mian finished wiping the medicine. When the military training is over, I may have to go out and rent a house. Cheng Xin was shocked. Don't, Mian, I'll give her a good lesson when I go back tonight. If she dares to bully you in the future, my sister will cover you. Don't be afraid. No. Lu Mian shook her head and smiled apologetically, I have some personal matters, and it is not convenient to live in the dormitory. Sometimes I come back late and I can't get into the dormitory, and I'm afraid of disturbing you. Yesterday, a woman named Luo Fang added her WeChat, saying that she was her new manager. Luo Fang asked her when she had time to meet. Lu Mian made an appointment after the military training this afternoon. The young woman who pushed her to Mr. Sheng at the dinner party that day was her former manager. Lu Mian signed a 7-year contract with Shengxing Media, and now she is the only one under Luo Fang's hands. A newcomer. After searching Luo Fang's name on the internet, she learned that she is a well-known gold medal agent in the circle, and has created several superstars such as movie queens and singers. Follow Luo Fang, the future star will be obvious to all. But Lu Mian is also very puzzled, why Luo Fang is willing to bring herself a newcomer who does not understand anything. She has never been in the entertainment industry, and the only thing she worries about at this time is to bow her head and not look up, afraid of meeting the original male and female protagonists Hisuomu and Mu Mingxiu. Lu Mian, the female cannon fodder in the text, was deceived by Hisuomu for money and sex, and was suppressed by Mu Mingxiu to the point of being unable to turn over for the rest of her life, and her end was bleak. Lu Mian recalled the plot carefully, and finally waited for the disbanding on the spot. She talked to her roommate, and waited for Luo Fang at the agreed coffee shop. Luo Fang has arrived, sitting at the coffee table and reading the documents. She is 40 years old, but she is still beautiful and well-maintained, looking 10 years younger than her real age. Luo Fang's skin is very white, her black hair is meticulously combed back, and the clean and simple white shirt is in line with her neat temperament. Lu Mian walked over and called out, "Hello." Luo Fang raised her head, a look of surprise gliding across her eyes. When the company forcibly stuffed Lu Mian with her, she was very upset, especially after reading Lu Mian's resume. She was not upset. The skin is very beautiful, but the eyes are very empty, hiding the power and desire of many female stars, and can't be on the table. She decided on the spot that this little newcomer would never go very far. Although the girl in front of her is a little nervous, her almond eyes are clear and bright. When she looks at people quietly, it will give people the feeling that she is listening to you very carefully. The girl's skin is very white, her face is full of collagen, green and beautiful. Just after the military training, she seemed to have run over, gasping for breath, with a seductive blush on her cheeks, and a thin layer of pink on the tips of her ears. The black eyelashes are dense and curled, as thick and beautiful as a small fan. The black hair wet with sweat was sticking to the rosy cheeks, chic and beautiful. The image is ever-changing, and the plasticity is strong. Luo Fang looked at her quietly and had a preliminary judgment on Lu Mian. She smiled, "Sit." Lu Mian thanked her and sat opposite her. She didn't know what to say, so she stared at Luo Fang. Luo Fang wanted to laugh at her soft gaze. She unconsciously softened her voice, "Just finished the military training and haven't eaten yet, what do you want to eat? I'll invite you." She handed over the menu, and Lu Mian was really hungry, so she ordered a cake. I will be responsible for all your affairs during the contract period. If you encounter anything in the future, feel free to tell me. The company should have told you the precautions before. You are a newcomer now, so I don't want you to violate any of those. Yes. Lu Mian replied obediently. Luo Fang said a lot. Lu Mian took a serious attitude and wrote them down without exception. Seeing that she was obedient, Luo Fang smiled relaxedly. You don't have to be nervous, I won't force you to do things you don't want like your previous agent. In me, everything speaks with strength. I have already won the role of concubine Xiao for you. Concubine Xiao has more roles than concubine Xian, and her character is more brilliant. When your military training is over and National Day is over, I will ask someone to take you there. The crew is watching. If it's too late to get back to school, I'll ask you for a leave from the school. You don't have to worry, act well, and don't let me down. Luo Fang gave her the cake money and left, leaving Lu Mian alone to eat cake in the cafe. I couldn't get enough of the cake, so Lu Mian went to eat another fried rice. When the fried rice came up, Lu Mian received the information about the new drama sent by Luo Fang. She opened the link and shuddered when she saw the title of the drama Emperor of Allure. She deeply remembers that The Queen of the City is an online drama adapted from a popular novel, and the heroine Mu Mingxiu has soared into the sky with this online drama and embraced the male lord Hisuomu's thick thigh is the most popular. Lu Mian shivered and slid her fingers down. She actually wanted to play the role of concubine Xiao who played against Mu Mingxiu the most. She still remembered that the actress who played concubine Xiao in the text was an unknown actress, and Mu Mingxiu was jealous of her young and beautiful appearance, and slapped her fiercely during filming, countless times. In the end, the actress was pushed into the water, causing the other party to suffer from depression, and she has since withdrawn from the entertainment industry. Lu Mian's face was pale, and she could almost foresee her future. Mu Mingxiu already had a sponsor named Xiao Shenjia, the chairman of her company. It was because of Xiao Shenjia that Mu Mingxiu got this role, and it happened that Emperor Allure was invested and filmed by Xiao Shenjia's Shenjia Media. Mu Mingxiu was almost dominant in the play, and no one dared to annoy her easily. Annoying her, not only will she lose her job, but I'm afraid I won't be able to stay in the entertainment industry for the rest of my life. Lu Mian frowned, and even the fried rice felt dull. A phone number called Sister popped up on the phone screen. Lu Mian thought for a while, and pressed the answer. Lu Binger's tone was flat. How's the military training going? Lu Mian guessed that she might be her own sister. She replied, it's good. The other side was silent for a while. Pay attention to sun protection. Good. The two sides were silent for a while, and Lu Binger then asked her, how is your relationship with your roommate? Lu Mian did not speak immediately, but Lu Binger guessed something. I will transfer the money to you on WeChat, and I will come out to find a house by myself these few days. Thank you. Lu Mian was thinking about it, but she still had some savings, which was more than enough to pay the rent. She refused, Sister, you don't need to transfer money to me, I still have some, enough. The other side fell silent again. Lu Binger felt strange. Lu Mian used to want to ask her for more money, how can she be so polite now? After finishing the call, Lu Binger took a taxi to the school. It was pitch black at night. She was waiting for her sister downstairs in the girls' dormitory. Lu Mian walked past her, clearly saw her, but didn't seem to know her. Lu Binger stepped forward and grabbed her wrist. Follow me. Lu Mian turned around and called her sister tentatively after seeing her appearance. Cheng Xin and Yin Li went back to the bedroom first. The elder sister in front of Lu Mian is fashionable and beautiful, her well-tended hair is soft and beautiful, and her delicate and beautiful face is covered with heavy makeup, which makes her beautiful. The small skirt wrapped the beautiful and perfect figure, and the men passing by looked sideways. Lu Binger is covered in famous brands, the skirt is the same style as the star, and the bag in her hand is a big name limited edition, worth hundreds of thousands. Lu Mian looked at it for a moment, then closed her eyes. Sister, what are you doing to me so late? What's the matter with you? Lu Bing'er asked her. Lu Mian was stunned, not knowing what she was talking about. She subconsciously replied, what? Raised? Even if you hate me again, I don't want to treat you materially. If you don't have enough money, you can tell me. But if you dare to use your brain to earn some dirty money, I will replace your parents, educate you well. I do what I say. Lu Mian tried her best to digest the meaning of her words. Lu Bing'er saw that she didn't speak, her heart sank. Men are all liars. During college, I did not allow you to fall in love with men. During college, your only task is to be good read. Especially old men, if you dare to carry me. I know. Lu Mian interrupted her softly. Lu Bing'er looked at her for a while, and seeing that she seemed to be genuine, she took out 2 stacks of cash from her bag and stuffed them into her. Take a good military training. I'm busy, I don't have time to come and see you often. My sister came and went quickly. Lu Mian was overwhelmed with the 2 stacks of cash. When she returned with the cash, Chu Ryu was there. Cheng Xin and Yin Li were stunned. Mian, where did you get the money? My sister gave it. Lu Mian honestly put the money in the cabinet. Cheng Xin understood, is that your sister just now? It's too beautiful. Your family's genes are really good, both sisters are great beauties. Lu Mian has not yet answered. Chu Ryu has already ridiculed with all her strength. Oh, I don't know if this money is clean or not. Women nowadays will do anything for money. Are you talking about yourself? Lu Mian's expression sank. Even if her voice was soft, it didn't prevent Chu Ryu from blushing with anger. What did you say? Chu Ryu raised the volume. The bedroom door was still open, and passing classmates looked in. Lu Mian kicked the door shut. She leaned behind the door. I said, you can do anything for money. Are you talking about yourself? Chu Ryu was mad and wanted to come and beat her, but Cheng Xin was tall and pushed her back at once. Chu Ryu, I have endured you for a long time. If you don't believe me, I'll beat you. Come on, beat me up. Cheng Xin slapped her in the face. Lu Mian and Yin Li were startled, and hurried over to pull the frame. In the end, the housekeeper aunt was recruited. The housekeeper aunt had to report it to the school. Cheng Xin called home and solved the matter easily. Chu Ryu was timid and fearful, and finally the conflict was over. While Lu Mian was thinking about finding a house, she had already moved out of the dormitory first. Cheng Xin sat lazily on the chair. It's good that she's gone, and Mian will move out later, and Lily and I are the only ones who love each other. Yin Li is a small one, with a stern face. You give up, I won't like you. Cheng Xin raised her eyebrows and approached her. Then what about me, overlord? It depends on whether you like me or not. Mian, save me. She tickles me. Yin Li laughed and screamed and hid behind Lu Mian, so that Lu Mian did not hide from Cheng Xin's claws. After the commotion was over, the 3 of them took a bath and lay on the bed, and the bedroom lights were turned off. Cheng Xin played with her phone for a while, and stuck her head out of the mosquito net. Mian, have you found your house? Not yet. Lu Mian wrinkled her nose. The house near the school was either 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, and 1 living room, or it was a new community with a lot of formaldehyde that had just been renovated. Living in is not good for your health. Lu Mian watched it for a long time and felt that the shared rent was not complete. Cheng Xin shook the phone in her hand. I know a senior who has a classmate who is looking for roommates. It's 15 months and the decoration is not bad, but I can't live in it. The house has been renovated and vacant for 2 years. Recently, my classmates are planning to move in, so they are looking for roommates in the circle of friends. Look at Mian, the decoration style is simple yet luxurious. At first glance, it looks like a rich senior. 1005 is like a pie in the sky. Yin Li said wow at the right time, and was very excited. Lu Mianmian's eyes lit up, then Xingxin, please help me and ask if there are any more. I asked, it's still there. I asked my senior to tell her classmates to leave the house to you. When there is time, we will accompany you to see the house and help you move things in together. Cheng Xin said. Lu Mianmian's heart warmed, thank you. Cheng Xin said lightly, it's all friends, say thank you. If you have time, you often go back to the dormitory to play. This year, the school should not arrange students to live in our dormitory. In the future this is still your home. Okay. Lu Mianmian nodded with a smile, and she whispered, you guys are so nice. Both of them heard it, smiled, but did not speak. Shen Shenxing was playing games in the dormitory. Zhou Shengming hugged his thigh, crying and howling, Dad! Are you really going to abandon us and move out of the dormitory? Is that kid Duan Jianzhou not serving well enough, or that kid Duan Jianzhou? Playing games is too bad. A slipper was accurately thrown onto his head, and Zhou Shengming got up, Duan Jianzhou, you hit Dad again. Duan Jianzhou also threw the remaining slipper over, Shen Xing was taken away by your play spirit. Zhou Shengming was stunned for a moment, then turned around and hugged Shen Shengxing's thigh again, Dad, don't go. I won't be angry with you anymore. Shen Shengxing withdrew his legs and leaned on the chair lazily, I'm not interested in men. Yes, you are interested in other elementary school girls. Zhou Shengming stood up and was about to take a sip of water when he saw Shen Shengxing's hand in the game stopped, and glanced at him lightly. He immediately closed himself mouth. Duan Jianzhou is very puzzled, why is Zhou Shengming so cheap? Zhou Shengming picked up his mobile phone, Dad, someone rents your house. He is a freshman and a junior. He chatted with Cheng Xin quietly. Dad must get the first drop of blood today. Cheng Xin, are you there? My friend wants to rent the house you posted in the circle of friends. When can I see the house? Is my brother playing games? My Lolita, Zhou Shengming anytime. Dad must get the first drop of blood today, okay, then tomorrow. Zhou Shengming turned around and said to Shen Shengxing, is the younger brother coming to see Fang Cheng tomorrow? Shen Shen did not look up, I have something to do tomorrow. What? Shen Shengxing was expressionless, go back to Shen's house. Okay, then I and my son will help you show the room with my son tomorrow, and give me the key. Duan Jianzhou was too lazy to pay attention to him, and concentrated on playing games. An appointment was made to see the house together the next day, but Lu Mianmian was urgently called back to the company by Luo Fang. Before leaving, Lu Mianmian asked Cheng Xin and Yin Li to help him see the house, and the two agreed. The house is not far from the school, 10 minutes away. It is a high-end community with a high safety factor. The security guards strictly check the information of people entering and leaving the community. Cheng Xin and Yin Li discussed for a while and were very satisfied with the safety factor of the community. When they got there, they rang the doorbell. Cheng Xin and Zhou Shengming recognized each other and said in unison, why are you? Cheng Xin stood at the door with a pale face, my friend has something to do, I'll help her see the house. What a coincidence, my friend is also busy. Zhou Shengming led people in the door and said triumphantly, my friend bought this house for decoration as a freshman. It has been vacant for 2 years. Now that the smell is almost gone, I am ready to move in. I want to rent it out. It's this one, if you hadn't met my friend, you wouldn't be able to rent such a good house. There is no difference between the real object and the picture. The scenery is good and the air is fresh. There is a lake and park behind it, which is quiet, and there is a small balcony. Cheng Xin and Yin Li were very satisfied. Zhou Shengming took out the contract. Shen Shengxing had already signed the contract, and Long Fifengyu could not see a word. Cheng Xin took the contract, I'll send it to you when my friend signs it. Zhou Shengming has no objection. Lu Mianmian returned to the dormitory after listening to Luo Fang's words in the company. Cheng Xin immediately gave her the rental contract and, Mian, we have seen the house today, and it's pretty good. The community is very safe. The room is big and bright, the furniture is simple and new, and there is a small balcony outside your room, where you can grow flowers and plants. The senior is a rich man, the living room is full of cabinets, I guess it is used to store bags and shoes. The bathroom is very large, and the bathtub can fit 2 people. The specifications of a 5-star hotel are good. Cheng Xin spared no effort to recommend. Yin Li nodded in agreement. After listening to it, Lu Mianmian didn't think much about it, and followed the dragon and the phoenix to sign the signature. Lu Mianmian and Yin Li came back from the bathroom and saw Shen Shensing at the entrance of the playground. I haven't seen him for more than a week. Shen Shensing still looks like he hasn't woken up, a clean and refreshing white tee, a pair of dark jeans. His long and narrow eyes drooped slightly, covering the coldness in his eyes. Lu Mianmian glanced at him, he seemed to be in a bad mood today, his thin lips were tightly pursed, the corners of his lips were pressed down, and he had a cold aura that no strangers should enter. Shen Shensing seemed to be aware of Lu Mianmian's gaze, his thin eyelids were lifted, and the indifferent eyes looked over, alienated and indifferent. Lu Mianmian was stunned, hurriedly bent over and bowed slightly to him, and quickly pulled Yin Li away. Shen Shenzing's eyes followed her for a long time, his eyes were out of focus, he seemed to be in a daze, and he seemed to be thinking about something through her. Lu Mianmian was tensed up by the sight, and when she kicked forward, she rarely got up with her hands and feet. Instructor, she walked to her side and hugged his arm. Hey, I don't understand, why is it you again? The senior is really so good looking? Then do you want to call him over to train with you? Lu Mianmian's cheeks flew a blush, she stammered, I didn't look at him. Instructor, she looked back, oh, he's looking at you. You don't have to say it, I feel it. After instructor, she made fun of it. The female classmates in the training camp looked at Lu Mianmian with envy, and said to her, what's so good about her? Why did Senior Shen come to see her again and again? During the break, someone couldn't help but curiously asked Lu Mianmian this question. Lu Mianmian tried her best to be calm, I don't know. The female classmate left unwillingly, but Lu Mianmian was thinking, after he sent me to the hospital last time, I didn't say anything, didn't take the initiative to invite him to dinner and thank him, he didn't happy? Shen Shensing sneezed suddenly, Zhou Shengming smiled and hooked his shoulders, it must be the elementary school girl who is quietly scolding you. You see, people's faces are red, little girls are thin-skinned, you stare at them for so long, they will be shy. Shen Shensing was expressionless, remembering Lu Mianmian's domineering style. Shy? I was so shy that I had to marry someone. Shy? He thought through gritted teeth. The military training was boring and heavy. In the first half of the month, instructor Shi was very strict. After the students were obedient the next week, he relaxed a little. When the sun is too hot, they will take the initiative to pull people to the shade to avoid them from the sun. Lu Mianmian wrapped herself tightly. When she was resting, she opened the clothes around her neck and asked Cheng Xin, Xiao Xin, is my sunburn healed? Cheng Xin glanced at it, it's almost good, put on your clothes. Mian, you are attracting crimes. Lu Mian reluctantly put on her clothes, took out the sunburn medicine and continued to smear the wound on her hand. Even if she applied sunscreen, the place exposed to the sun would inevitably become a little red. Yin Li looked at her beautiful and light white fingers enviously, Mian, everyone is a degree darker, but you are still so white. White skin is good. Lu Mian stretched out her hand in front of her, where is it? You can see that I'm already like this. It's also better than ugly and black. Cheng Xin said, if I were a man, I would definitely want to bully you and cry, leaving hickeys all over your snow-white body. The military training is about to end, everyone is very excited. On the way back to the dormitory, the club is still stubbornly recruiting new students, and I can't wait to recruit all the new students passing by into the club. Cheng Xin is cheerful and has joined the game club. Yin Li joined the literature club. She is good at Chinese, can write poetry and has deep literary attainments. Only Lu Mian has no interest in the club. The three were walking towards the dormitory, when a male classmate suddenly rushed out. Would the three beauties join the dance club? Don't. There are many handsome guys and beauties in the dance club, and the benefits are good. If you participate in school activities, you can also add credits. Don't miss the three beauties. He looked at Lu Mian. Do you want to try this beauty? Thank you, no need. Lu Mian rejected him. Cheng Xin said, these little brats, seeing that Mian looks good looking, hollowed out their thoughts and tricked Mian into it. Mian, your name as a college flower is quite real. This kind of thing happens every day, sometimes the club changes the recruiters, and the new recruits in the club still come to Lu Mian every day. Lu Mian refuses to do. Lu Mian touched her face, wondering if she could maintain this beautiful face after filming. The military training ended in the expectation and excitement of everyone. Although I was exhausted during the training, when the instructor really wanted to leave, he felt extremely reluctant. After the last day, the club also started a dinner party. Cheng Xin pulled Lu Mian, tonight, the game club and the dance club have a dinner together. Mian, it's not fun for you to stay in the dormitory alone. Why don't you go with me? Lily will go out later, you are alone. It's not fun in the dorm. Lu Mian could not shirk, so she agreed. Cheng Xin was wearing a long dress, her charming and gorgeous long hair fluttering, and her face was wearing delicate makeup, which suddenly became noble and glamorous. Lu Mian picked out a white tee, put on a pair of light-colored jeans, put on flat shoes, and followed her to the gathering place. Cheng Xin and Yu Jin, the president of the game club, are already very familiar with each other. She said hello in advance, my friend, Lu Mian. Yu Jin is the senior of the junior year. He is gentle and elegant, with a handsome and sunny face. After Yu Jin saw Lu Mian, who was pure and a little dumb, the smile on his face brightened. Hello, schoolgirl, you can relax and eat, drink and have fun tonight, you're welcome. Thank you. Lu Mian doesn't talk much, and eats quietly beside Cheng Xin. Occasionally someone comes to drink with her, but she is blocked by Cheng Xin. After dinner, people from the two clubs opened the private room to sing. I don't know who suggested should I play Truth or Dare, and more than half of the people agreed. Lu Mian, come with me too, said a key member of the game club. Cheng Xin was interrupted before she could speak. Come on, come together. Lu Mian sat next to Cheng Xin. Cheng Xin cared, it doesn't matter, I'll bear it for you. At the beginning of the game, Lu Mian's luck was terrible, and she got a big adventure in the first round. Open the note, it says the first person who pushed through the door and kissed the tongue for a minute. Lu Mian's ears burned after reading it. She wanted to find an excuse to run away, but the door of the box was already pushed open. Zhou Shengming smiled and prepared to come in, and everyone in the room turned back. His feet paused, and his instinct was deceitful. Zhou Shengming pushed Shen Shenxing beside him with lightning speed, and then stuffed Duan Jianzhou behind him, and he was the last to step into the room. Shen Shenxing stabilized his body and quickly found Lu Mian, who was full of anxiety in the crowd. He raised his eyebrows and asked Lu Mian with his eyes, is something wrong? The roar filled the entire private room. Lu Mian lowered her head nervously and guiltily, and clenched the hand holding the note unconsciously. Seeing this, Shen Shenxing went straight to Lu Mian's side, grabbed her wrist and pulled her up. He glanced at the note in Lu Mianmian's hand, took it over and took a look, his lazy expression instantly solidified. Lu Mianmian looked at him nervously and waved, You can refuse. Why should I refuse? Shen Shenxing said with a half-smile. The girl's face turned red at a speed visible to the naked eye, like a ripe peach. Shen Shenxing pulled Lu Mianmian away, and some people protested dissatisfiedly, I haven't kissed yet. Senior Shen, you can't take Sister Mianmian away. Shen Shenxing turned back, I took her out to kiss, she was shy and thin-skinned. That won't work, who knows if you will release water after you go out. Shen Shenxing lowered his head, raised Lu Mianmian's chin, his tone was deliberately suppressed, slender and hoarse, making him feel a little dizzy. His beautiful eyes narrowed, his gaze was direct and fiery, and he pretended to ask her indifferently, go out to kiss or here to kiss? The hot breath of the man is close at hand, and the smell of laundry detergent on the other's clothes can be smelled in the breath, which is mixed with the rose smell like shower gel and shampoo, which is clean and refreshing. Shen Shenxing bent down, held her chin with one hand, his eyes were level with hers, and the distance was too ambiguous. Lu Mianmian was about to stop breathing, her mouth was dry and her heart was beating like thunder, and her hands subconsciously grasped her clothes. Someone answered in her place, here kiss. Shen Shenxing ignored others, he stared straight at the girl who had nowhere to put his eyes, he lowered his eyes, and caught a glimpse of the back of Lu Mianmian's hard hand, the lines were slightly raised, as if he had used a lot of it took strength to resist the urge to run away. Zhou Shengming and Duan Jianzhou stood aside, Zhou Shengming quietly said to Duan Jianzhou, look, isn't Dad very witty? If that person were me, I wouldn't be ripped off by the little king. Duan Jianzhou glanced at him to see if you could. The two were very close, but they didn't kiss for a long time. Some people were dissatisfied, and Lu Mianmian's ears were full of I can't afford it, if you can't afford it, just don't do it. Participate, it's really a disappointment, if you don't kiss her, let's kick her out and start a new round of games. Lu Mianmian felt a little uncomfortable listening to these words. She raised her eyes, Shen Shenxing happened to be looking at him, her eyelashes were black and long, wrapped around the too dangerous and lazy obsidian. He's not sleepy now. Lu Mianmian is more focused. Shen Shenxing squinted, she was about to kiss, how dare she be in a daze. Lu Mianmian exclaimed and hugged Shen Shenxing's waist reflexively to prevent herself from falling. The next moment, her back was against a hard wall, and she was imprisoned by Shen Shenxing in her arms. Shen Shenxing is very tall, he bows his waist and tilts his head, his lips are less than 1 centimeter away from Lu Mianmian. Lu Mianmian subconsciously grasped the clothes around his waist. Shen Shenxing raised his lips and made a deliberately wicked voice, you scratched me. Shen Shenxing looked at her blushing face with satisfaction, half-smile, and said in a voice that only 2 people could hear, you're nervous. Lu Mianmian subconsciously licked her dry lips, her pink uvula, and her blushing full lips, arousing countless imaginations. The man's playful eyes sank suddenly. Lu Mianmian waited for a few seconds before Shen Shenxing pressed down and kissed her. She came back to her senses in a trance, feeling a little grateful. However, before she could express her gratitude, she heard the teenager in front of her ask her in a very heavy and hoarse voice, do you want it? As he spoke, he was getting closer. Lu Mianmian hurriedly put her hand on his chest, pressed against him and refused him to come closer. The girl bit her lip lightly, her voice as small as a mosquito, I don't want it. Shen Shenxing maintained his figure and did not move, but in the countdown of the last second of others, the boy's lips seemed to accidentally cross Lu Mianmian's lips. Shen Shenxing stood up straight, didn't say anything, grabbed Lu Mianmian's wrist and walked out of the private room. Zhou Shengming wanted to chase, but was pulled by Duan Jianzhou. Shen Shenxing was fast, and Lu Mianmian almost had to trot to keep up with him. She ran for a while out of breath, and Shen Shenxing finally slowed down. Lu Mian raised her head and looked around. It was downstairs in the girls' dormitory. She was about to say. Go up. Shen Shengxing's dark eyes and tense face are more terrifying than ever. Lu Mian shrank his neck, nodded, turned and walked towards the dormitory building. After a few steps, she turned back. Shen Shenxing was still standing there, leaning on the bulletin board next to him, one hand in his trouser pocket, the other seemed to be going to touch the cigarette. Seeing her turn around, Shen Shenxing stood up straight and walked towards her with a gloomy face. Lu Mian said nothing, for fear that he would pull him over and kiss him back and run away. The ink hair hanging down to the waist fluttered recklessly in the dark night, like a sea monster that deceives people. The girl's petite body was like a rabbit, and she disappeared after a while. Shen Shenxing stood on the spot and laughed softly. After laughing, he felt a little unhappy in his heart again, the smile on his face was lost, and his face was stinky. Lu Mian returned to the dormitory and closed the door. She leaned back against the door and couldn't breathe. She slowed down for a while, turned on the light and walked to the small balcony to look down. Shen Shenxing put his hand on his ear, raised his foot and left while making a call. Lu Mian just looked at it for half a second. When the young man downstairs turned back to look at her, Lu Mian immediately retracted her little head and hid behind the curtains, like a guilty thief. Half a minute later, Lu Mian looked again. Shen Shenxing was gone. She was lying on the balcony and watching. On the playground in front, there are the shadows of vigorous teenagers playing basketball, seniors listening to songs and running at night, and young couples falling in love in the dark. Lu Mian was lying on the balcony, her dark eyes gliding across the night sky. Shen Shenxing leaned against a tree not far from the dormitory building, looking at the balcony. His heart was touched for no reason. Like a furry claws, the claws stretched out to hook his heart tightly. Some pain and some anticipation. Lu Mian is packing things in the dormitory. Tomorrow the school will be on holiday, and the day after tomorrow, she will be in the group for filming, just to set aside one day for her to move. She was sweating profusely, but fortunately, she didn't have many things until the start of school. She could fit 2 suitcases and a few small bags. Cheng Xin rushed into the dormitory and grabbed Lu Mian. Mian. Tell me honestly, when have you been with Senior Shen? Yin Li was behind and looked over curiously. Lu Mian retracted her hand. I'm not with him. Cheng Xin snorted softly. You bad old man is very bad. You are not together. Why did Senior Shen take the initiative to kiss you? It took a full minute. They took photos and videos. It's okay, I supervise them to delete it. You don't have to be nervous. Yin Li listened stunned. Mian, you and Senior Shen kissed for a full minute? Senior Shen is too long. Lu Mian blushed thinly. She stomped her feet and turned around, her face full of embarrassment. No kiss, no kiss. Nothing was done. Lu Mian said angrily. Cheng Xin and Yin Li looked at each other, smiled and coaxed her. Okay, I didn't kiss, but it was just a minute of being slapped by Senior Shen. Yes. Senior Shen is the flower of our academy, and the white moonlight cinnabar mole in the hearts of countless boys and girls. Mian, just treat me as jealous of you. Yin Li was quiet on weekdays, but she didn't expect to gossip without any ambiguity. She was embarrassed to ask Lu Mian. She hesitated all night. Lu Mian's eyebrows jumped, and she forced to pretend not to see. Lu Mian packed her things. Cheng Xin and Yin Li planned to help her move her things and then go home. Lu Mian refused. I need to clean the room over there first, and get its evening after you're done, so go home first. I'll find a car to help me pull it there at night, it's not far anyway. Yin Li is from out of town, so she bought the train ticket early, while Cheng Xin has a relative who got married and is rushing home to be a bridesmaid. Hearing what she said, she no longer insisted. Cheng Xin took out his mobile phone, I asked Zhou Shengming if he had time, and let him pick you up. Just give him the money. No, he. Okay. Cheng Xin snapped her fingers, seeing that Lu Mian didn't agree, she smiled, don't be afraid, you can just give him some money then. Senior Shen's friend, it's even more unsafe for you to find a strange driver outside at night. Lu Mian had no choice but to nod, she was not afraid of Zhou Shengming, she was afraid of meeting Shen Shenxing. She didn't feel anything about what happened just now. After thinking about it for a few hours by herself, the shy and strange feeling became more and more clear. She couldn't wait to put a quilt on her head and go out, and now she doesn't even have the courage to look directly at Shen Shenxing. I'm afraid to see his long, narrow eyes that are not smiling. It seems that when he smiles, his heart beats inexplicably, and his face blushes inexplicably. After Zhou Shengming died in the game, he was cheap here and there, and after receiving Cheng Xin's WeChat, he touched his chin and walked in front of Shen Shenxing, Dad, junior brother. A little too much, let you pick him up tomorrow night. Shen Shenxing did not lift his head, you go. I'm not going. Having said that, the next night, he arrived at the downstairs of the girls' dormitory on time. Zhou Shengming leaned on the Bentley and wondered why the younger brother came downstairs from the girls' dormitory. When he saw Lu Mian, who was carrying several small bags and dragging a large suitcase with one hand, his eyes widened in disbelief, you. Seeing Zhou Shengming, Lu Mian pulled her suitcase hard and approached, hello, senior. No, no trouble. Zhou Shengming was stunned for a while, and quickly put away her luggage lever and put it in the trunk, and then took off her large and small bags and put them on the back seat. Lu Mian sat in the back row, Zhou Shengming looked at her through the rearview mirror for a long time, and Lu Mian felt uncomfortable. Taking advantage of the girls in the back row not paying attention, Zhou Shengming hurried to harass Duan Jianzhou to share this shocking secret. Do you know who the younger brother who rented little Hades' room? It's Lu Mian, the younger sister that Xiao Yanwang just recognized. How did the good apprentice become a sister? Do you want me to tell Xiao Yanwang about this? Will little Hades take my skin off when he finds out? No, I sent Lu Mian to Xiao Yanwang's house and immediately drove away from the scene, and the rest of the matter is out of my control. Duan Jianzhou raised his head from the game. After reading the news, he frowned slightly and returned Zhou Shengming with a sorry, your message has been sent, but it was rejected by the other party, please add the other party as a friend first plus a bright red exclamation mark next to the dialog box. This coward! Zhou Shengming was nervous and excited, the little king of hell was so bad-tempered, and a schoolgirl suppressed him, would he be gentle to others? Little Hades has become a Tathagata Buddha, and he will have a better life in the future. Zhou Shengming thought happily in his heart, he brought Lu Mian's luggage up, turned around and left, after 2 steps he turned back, cleared his throat and pretended to be serious, you transfer the rent to me, I'll transfer it to the landlord for you, and I'll leave first if I have something else to do. Goodbye. He slipped faster than anyone else. Lu Mian looked around, dragged her suitcase into the room, closed the door, and packed up. The room is really nice, spacious, and bright, and it is safe to live with my senior. After Zhou Shengming slipped away, he thought for a moment and clicked on WeChat to ask Cheng Xin. Is my brother playing games, my lowly voice, are there? Are you male or female? Dad must get the first drop of blood today, fuck off. Your dad my real girl. Is my brother playing games? My Lolita, are all girls now calling themselves dads? Zhou Shengming looked at his WeChat nickname and fell into contemplation. Perhaps, he saw the other party's nickname and mistakenly thought that the other party was a junior, and the other party saw his nickname and mistakenly thought he was a senior. Zhou Shengming smiled and drove away. Lu Mian tidied up until midnight, and finally tidied up the room. There was a sound of the door opening from the living room. Lu Mian thought it was her senior sister who came back. She patted the wrinkled clothes on her body, opened the door and ran out with a bright smile on her face. Lu Mian raised the volume on purpose. "Hello, senior." Half of the good words were swallowed by her. Lu Mian's smile froze on her face. She looked at the door in disbelief and paused, like Shen Shenxing who had been tapped. Shen Shenxing was wearing a pure white thin sweater. The sweater was loose, and the cap covered his head, leaving only a little messy hair in front of his forehead. His expressionless face was originally a little sleepy, but when he suddenly saw Lu Mian, his long and narrow eyes widened slightly. "Looks startled." Lu Mian stood in the center of the living room, at a loss. "Didn't you say it was a senior? How did you become Shen Shenxing?" Lu Mian thought to herself, maybe he was the younger brother of the senior, or the boyfriend of the senior. It can't be the landlord, her roommate. Shen Shenxing lifted his eyelids and looked over. The crystal lamp in the living room was very bright, the milky white light all fell on the girl's grayish-white tea. She stood under the haze, with a delicate face a little dirty, like a cat with scorched fur. The girl gasped in small sips, her delicate almond eyes were turning around nowhere, looking cautious and cramped. Shen Shenxing laughed suddenly, his voice was low, and there was an indescribable joy. He changed his slippers at the entrance, closed and locked the door with his backhand. Hearing the sound of the lock, Lu Mian subconsciously took 2 steps back, her face full of alertness. "Why are you here? I also want to ask you, what are you doing in my house?" Shen Shenxing strode toward her, and Lu Mian was forced to fall on the sofa. He bowed his waist, looked into the girl's eyes word by word and said, "This is my home." Lu Mian was stunned. "I rented that room." She pointed to the door that hadn't closed in time, and Shen Shenxing followed her finger, and could vaguely see the girl's underwear. Lu Mian suddenly jumped up and stood in front of Shen Shenxing in panic, staring. "I signed the contract. Also paid." Shen Shenxing thought of the 6,000 yuan Zhou Shengming had just transferred, and his eyebrows jumped. Lu Mian stood in front of him with her chest out. Shen Shenxing glanced casually, bulging and erect. Lu Mian caught a glimpse of his careless eyes, raised her hand to block her in a panic, and looked alert. "I'll give you the money back, you move out." Shen Shenxing turned around and sat down, opened the dinner and began to eat. "No, you are violating the contract." Lu Mian stepped on his slippers and walked over to block his light. Shen Shenxing raised his head, leaned his upper body back, crossed his legs and said casually, "Don't move. Don't move." The girl looked stubborn. Shen Shenxing returned to the room with dinner. "Whatever you want." Lu Mian stood in the living room for a while, and after smelling the aroma of Shen Shenxing's dinner, she sniffed and felt hungry. Shen Shenxing didn't force her away. Lu Mian breathed a sigh of relief. She went back to the house to order takeout, packed the rest, and just got up to take a shower. The doorbell rang. Lu Mian took the dinner from the delivery boy, turned around and found Shen Shenxing standing silently behind her. Lu Mian took a half step back in shock. "Do not open the door without permission to go out at 10 o'clock in the evening." After he finished speaking, he left. Shen Shenxing closed the door, not knowing what to do inside. Lu Mian finished eating in the living room, yawned and turned on the computer with tears in her eyes to check the arrangement. After watching it for a while, she was really sleepy, so she went to wash first and put on clean pajamas. Wet hair, put a white bath towel behind his shoulders, sat cross-legged on the soft carpet and continued to work. She sat quietly, her whole body exuding a lustrous pearl-like light, beautiful and beautiful. Emperor Allure is an online drama adapted from a novel. The investment is not a lot, and most of the money is spent on hiring He Suomu and Mu Mingxiu, so I don't expect other actors. What a great acting! Although Mu Mingxiu's acting skills are not good, she is still a little famous actress. He Suomu is 40 years old this year and is a top actor at the level of a movie king. Having Hisuomu in the play is equivalent to gaining popularity and attention. The rest of the supporting cast are people who have acted in a few plays and also have some fans. Only Lu Mian is a real newcomer. Lu Mian was nervous and stayed up all night to read the script she had memorized by heart again. She turned off the computer and went back to her room to lie down with an uneasy mood, hoping that everything will go well tomorrow. When Lu Mian went out in the morning, Shen Shengxing's door was still closed. She thought about it, and brought the key to the address given by Luo Feng. She was led to the dressing room by the assistant. The assistant told her to put on makeup and change clothes before taking the makeup photos, and then just wait for the sequence of her filming. The makeup artist of the crew was a young girl. Seeing her nervous expression, she comforted her lively not to worry. Lu Mian answered absent-mindedly and started putting on makeup. Because of her taut expression, she was somewhat noble and dignified and cold. The makeup artist applied a thin layer of blush to her, and then dabbed her full lips with red lipstick. Lu Mian opened his eyes, and the person in the mirror looked delicate and charming, and his eyes were slightly downcast, like a cat-like tiredness. The full red lips are extremely gorgeous, and she has been dressed up from a fresh little white lotus to a passionate rose like fire. The assistant asked her to go in and change clothes. Lu Mian just went in and closed the door. The next second Mu Mingxiu pushed the door in, followed by a dozen people, 3 assistants, a makeup team, and 3 or 2 bodyguards, Du Pai Luxury. The bodyguard pushed the little makeup artist away, pulled out the stool and asked Mu Mingxiu to sit down, and her own makeup artist immediately came over to dress her up. After Lu Mian changed her clothes, she walked out with her skirt. Everyone in the dressing room looked over. Mu Mingxiu smiled relaxedly, and her dark eyes quickly slid over a sense of jealousy and crisis. Lu Mian who came out of the changing room was very beautiful. The long black hair hangs down to the waist, and a delicate jade white step is slanted on the high bun, which is elegant and noble. The small face is fair and beautiful, her lips are rosy and full, she is carrying a bright red gold hem skirt, and the gorgeous clothes wrap her graceful body. The long neck is snow white, and the undulating lines on the chest are seductive. Since Lu Mian appeared, she almost took everyone's attention. Lu Mian was stunned when she saw the madness in Mu Mingxiu's eyes. The two faced each other at a distance, and neither of them could break the deadly silence. Until someone lets out a stunning gasp. Lu Mian returned to her senses, raised her skirt and smiled at Mu Mingxiu, and led the assistant away from the dressing room. She walked very fast, almost flying away from the suffocating room. I still ran into Mu Mingxiu, when I was unprepared. Lu Mian tilted her head and asked her assistant, "Do I look good?" The assistant praised her without hesitation, "Good looking, Mian, you are so beautiful." I was stunned when I saw that Mu Mingxiu just now. She didn't expect that there would be anyone else in this small crew. She's beautiful. Lu Mian was completely unhappy after hearing this. The assistant thought she had said something wrong and closed her mouth carefully. It took a long time for Mu Mingxiu to recover, her fingernails dig deeply into her palm without knowing it. Her voice was cold. "Who was that person just now?" "It's Lu Mian who plays concubine Xiao." The assistant replied. Clap. A loud slap sounded in the dressing room, everyone dared not let out the air, and the assistant who was beaten didn't dare to speak back. "She is playing opposite me?" Mu Mingxiu asked sharply. "You go tell the director and remove her from me. If there is her, I will have me, but I will not have her. Lose the temper. With that concubine Xiao around, who would want to watch him act? Concubine Xiao has compared her limelight to the past, so how can she hype and become popular? In particular, if Hisuomu saw that she was seduced by that fox, wouldn't all the plans he had carefully prepared come to nothing?" Mu Mingxiu lost her temper, and complained to Xiao Shenjia. Her voice was boring, "Mr. Xiao, they want to replace an actress in the crew." "Who?" Mu Mingxiu was beautiful and had many tricks, and Xiao Shenjia was happy to play with her. That concubine Xiao, people don't want to see her. Mu Mingxiu clenched her fingers and said delicately. Okay, I'll find someone to remove her. Mu Mingxiu let out a breath and put her heart back into her stomach. She turned around and found the makeup artist standing dumbfounded, full of fire. What are you still doing? Come and give me makeup. After Lu Mian escaped from the dressing room, she carried her skirt carefully and walked to the side. Maybe no one thought that there was such a stunning beauty in the small crew. Everyone couldn't help but look at her. At the same time, all kinds of unsightly words came into my ears. Lu Mian maintained a small smile and remained motionless, as if she didn't hear him. After speaking for a while, seeing no response from the parties involved, those people kept their mouths shut. The director smiled and beckoned her over. Lu Mian stopped in front of the director and whispered, "Hello director." Lu Mian was disgusted, and the expression on her face gradually turned cold. The director thought to himself, he looks noble and glamorous, reserved and aloof, and he doesn't know what it looks like at night. "Director, do you want to take a makeup photo?" A warm voice sounded. Lu Mian tilted her head in a conditioned reflex, and after finding out what was happening, she quickly moved her eyes away like an electric shock. The rosy lips were tightly pursed, and alienation and alertness were written all over her body. Hisuomo was interested. He looked at Lu Mian with his arms in his arms. "This lady. I've never seen it before." The director knew that he was out of play, and flattered. A new actor, a female college student, only entered the circle. A few nouns are enough to make people think. Hisuomo smiled knowingly. He walked up to Lu Mian. "If there is something you don't understand, feel free to come to me, I will be happy to answer." "Thank you." Lu Mian did not start coldly, wishing to stay as far away from him as possible. The more she avoided it, the more interested Hisuomo became in her. Everyone wanted to get close to him to please him. Why did she look like she met a jackal, tiger, and leopard? Hisuomo told the director a few words to leave, and Lu Mian was finally able to start taking makeup photos. After taking the makeup photo, she went back to remove her makeup and changed into her costume. Lu Mian only wore a white tee and jeans, with long hair scattered behind her shoulders, simple and beautiful. After removing the makeup, her delicate and pure facial features are revealed, which is pure and sweet, like the most exciting first love in adolescence, beautiful and holy. Hisuomo never thought that a person could be so different before and after makeup. After makeup, she is as beautiful as a witch, beautiful and dangerous. Fascinated. Before makeup, she looked simple, like a side dish in clear soup, with a different fresh taste. He slowly swept across her white skin exposed on the outside of the clothes, delicate as snow. Her waist was so thin, as if it would be broken with a light grip. Her legs were slender and long, light-colored jeans framed her beautiful lines. Wearing a pair of simple and clean white shoes on her feet, she walked briskly. The breeze blew, blowing the soft strands of hair on her cheeks. She smiled and talked to the assistant next to her. Her frown and smile were touching. Pure and stylish. Hisuomo lit a cigarette and said to others, "Check her." Lu Mian didn't know when she would be able to wait until the shooting. She had free time in the morning, so she planned to go out for a stroll and buy something. She took 2 steps, and someone stopped her. "Miss Lu, let's have a cup of tea together." Lu Mian looked at Hisuomo subconsciously, but saw him making a please gesture in the void. The assistant obviously had some experience and said forcefully, "Sorry, we still have something to do." After Lu Mian entered the room, the assistant was stopped outside. Besides Hisuomo, Mu Mingxiu was also there. Lu Mian said hello and did not sit down. Hisuomo held the cigarette between his fingers and raised his eyebrows. "Miss Lu, sit down." Lu Mian was sitting on pins and needles. Hisuomo and Mu Mingxiu both wanted to talk from her. Lu Mian answered a few words perfunctory, her face full of impatience, and Hisuomo was obviously running out of patience. Mu Mingxiu always looked down on her, especially after Hisuomu showed interest in Lu Mian. The phone rang, and Lu Mian stood up as if receiving an amnesty. "I'm sorry, I'll go out to answer a call." Lu Mian didn't have time to read the call prompt, and quickly answered the phone. "Hello. Where are you?" Shen Shengxing's voice came lazily from the other end. His nasal voice was a little heavy, as if he had caught a cold. Lu Mian hid in the corner, nervous and scared. Shisuomu and Mu Mingxiu knew exactly what they were going to do. She was afraid that they would do something to herself tonight. She pursed her lips and paused. "Do you have time at night? Can you come pick me up? I'll treat you to dinner." The girl's voice had an imperceptible weeping tone, and her voice was stunned, as if she had suffered a lot of grievances. He could almost think of her blushing eyes, holding up her phone and begging him in a low voice. Shen Shengxing, who was lying lazily on the sofa, sat up straight, his dark eyes slightly cold. "Where are you now?" The filming address was not far from the school. Lu Mian was afraid that Hisuomu would ask her to go back, so she forced Shen Shengxing to chat. Shen Shengxing picked up the key and quickly went downstairs, picked up a car and rushed over. He was wearing a Bluetooth headset, his handsome face was tense, and his dark eyes were full of the surging before the storm was about to come. The young man's thin lips pursed tightly, his jawline suddenly became sharp, and his tired appearance disappeared without a trace. Shen Shengxing stepped on the accelerator all the way, and it took him more than 20 minutes to drive after more than 40 minutes. Lu Mian had nothing to say to him, but when she turned around, she found Hisuomu smoking a cigarette, leaning against the door, staring straight at her. In the same action as Shen Shengxing, when the young man stood slantingly and carelessly, his whole body was full of seductive dignity, but the old man was like this, but it only made people feel disgusted. Lu Mian quickly retracted her gaze and gripped her phone tightly. She has been on the phone here for a long time, and Hisuomu is impatient. He snuffed out the cigarette, and walked towards Lu Mian with long legs. Lu Mian heard the footsteps behind her, her back was straight and her scalp was tense. "Lu." The sound stopped abruptly. A large warm hand wrapped her hand that was trembling because of excessive tension. Her movements were crisp but gentle. Lu Mian thought it was Mumu, and took 2 steps back in shock. Shen Shengxing held her hand tightly. Lu Mian could not move. Lu Mian tilted her head to look over, and when she saw Shen Shengxing, she approached Shen Shengxing with a cold expression and hurriedly held the boy's hand. "Brother, you are here." "Brother?" Master Shen raised his eyebrows, intending to settle accounts with her later. He grabbed Hisuomu's hand that was about to pat the shoulder, and firmly blocked the person half a meter away from the girl. Shen Shengxing squinted his eyes slightly, his eyes were full of sullenness and cruelty, his face was expressionless, but he gave Hisuomu a feeling of being stared at by a little wolf cub. Shen Shengxing threw off his hand and shook Hisuomu back a full 2 steps. Shen Shengxing held Lu Mian with one hand, and clenched his hand into a fist and hung it by his leg. "Who are you?" His tone was casual, but Hisuomu had to be cautious. Hisuomu is a smooth old fox, he chuckled lightly. "Who are you?" "I'm going to talk to Mian." Lu Mian refused with a cold face. "No need, I already know the lines by heart, don't bother you." After she finished speaking, she held Shen Shengxing's arm in a demonstrative manner, as if "What could you do with me?" Shen Shengxing raised his chin slightly, and raised his eyebrows sullenly. "Do you hear? She doesn't need it." Hisuomu wanted to say something else. Shen Shengxing's extremely dark eyes suddenly flashed a thrilling killing intent. Hisuomu's words rolled around in his throat, dispelling the idea of confrontation with Shen Shengxing. He looked at Lu Mian and hooked his lips. "It's not safe for you to go back alone after filming tonight, I'll take you." "No need, she has me." Shen Shengxing interrupted him coldly. Lu Mian turned her head to look at him. The young man was so serious, he was indescribably handsome. She pursed her lips and smiled, relieved. Lu Mian looked at him gratefully, her eyes bright and cheerful, and the clear and clean face of the boy was reflected in the glass beads. Her appearance fell into Hisuomu's eyes, but it was a different feeling. Lu Mian racked her brains to think, Hisuomu is the male lead, Mu Mingxiu is the female lead, what is Shen seeing? Cannon fodder? Or what kind of male match? Although his name sounds familiar, she still hasn't remembered his identity. Thinking of this, Lu Mian's eyes flickered with worry. Would Hisuomu take anger at the young man because of this incident and hurt him? Hisuomu left unwillingly. Shen Shenxing turned around and met the girl's self-blaming gaze. He was about to touch the little girl's head to comfort her, but stopped 3 centimeters above Lu Mian's head. She cried a lot that night, but when he was about to touch her head to comfort her, he was bitten by his hand. The strength is not large, like a kitten with no teeth. It is very itchy and comfortable. The tip of the wet tongue rubbed the skin, and he bullied them even worse. Lu Mian didn't know, so she put down her hand to hold Shen Shenxing and lowered her head. I'm sorry, I've caused you trouble again. The young man snorted and said nothing. Lu Mian's cheeks burned in panic, she stared at her toes and whispered, don't you have to go out to play on National Day? If I call you here now, will it disrupt your arrangements? After a while, the girl raised her head cautiously, her beautiful eyes full of anticipation. Are you really going to take me home today? N. Master Shen hummed from the tip of his nose, returning to his lazy look. Lu Mian looked at him, and at this moment Shen Shenxing finally had a bit of the carelessness and condescension of a playboy, and at first glance, he didn't look like a serious person. He is handsome and handsome. Lu Mian was sticking beside Shen Shenxing like a little tail. Even if someone from the crew came over, Lu Mian would not leave him half a step. Shen Shenxing accompanies her even to the bathroom. The boy was playing with his mobile phone in the sun, his whole body was covered with bright light, his broken hair was stuck in the air, and the hair was softened by the sunlight. His hands are slender and beautiful, and the blue veins on the back of his hands are slightly raised, which is unique and sexy. Shen Shenxing was wearing a black sweater today, and the sweater was very loose, so he couldn't tell his real figure. Lu Mian walked closer, sat down beside him gently, and continued to recite and study with the script. Her movements were light and did not disturb the people next to her at all. After she lowered her head and entered the state, the teenager beside her turned her head and glanced at her, his eyes slightly startled. Shen Shenxing called Zhou Shengming, who was hanging out in the small group. Okay, today I will show your cousin what Hisuomu has. Is my brother playing games? My Lolita? Why did he suddenly mention Hisuomu? Jianzhou, how much to put line? Half is my brother playing games, my lowly voice, has he offended you? Shen Shenxing glanced at the girl beside him who was quietly reading the script. Is my brother playing games? My Lolita, okay. It just happened that there was nothing to do on the National Day, and Dad had a good time playing with him. So bullying my cousin is really not a man. Zhou Shengming was about to ask how Shen Shenxing and Lu Mian were getting along, but after typing the words, he deleted them all. Forget it, what does he care about? Jianzhou, Zhou Shengming, if you don't release me from the blacklist within a minute, you will die. Is my brother playing games? My Lolita, bah. Lu Mian watched Mu Mingxiu's acting skills for a while, she really couldn't compliment her. She pursed her red lips tightly, and was about to turn around to go to lunch, but the director stopped her and asked her to change clothes and make up to prepare for shooting. Lu Mian's shoulders slumped, and pitifully said to Shen Shenxing, go eat first, I'm going to prepare for the afternoon shooting. Lu Mian was waiting for him to leave, but the boy kept standing in front of her without moving a single step. She raised her fair face and asked him why he didn't leave with clear eyes. Shen Shenxing lowered his eyes, his eyelashes were clear, dense, and long. I'm not hungry. I'll accompany you to make up. Lu Mianmian's heart trembled, and her face turned red. She mumbled softly and returned to the dressing room accompanied by her assistant. Mu Mingxiu was removing her makeup and preparing to eat lunch. When she saw Lu Mianmian coming in, she prepared to look away in disdain. Turned her eyes, when she saw Shen Shenxing beside Lu Mianmian, she stopped immediately. Shen Shenxing is handsome and young. That face is enough to capture a woman's heart and imagine something romantic and beautiful. Lu Mianmian felt an indescribable astringency in her heart. She even impulsively pulled Shen Shenxing to the sofa in the corner and sat down, blocking Mu Mingxiu's sight. But after holding Shen Shenxing's hand, she regretted it. She bit her head and let go of the boy's hand, sitting stiffly on the chair and letting the little makeup artist paint her eyebrows and lips. Lu Mianmian thought, why did he do such a thing just now? Will he think too much? Do you think you are taking advantage of him on purpose? The corner of Mu Mingxiu's mouth evoked a mocking smile, and went out to greet the director and prepare to leave work. The director stopped her. Mingxiu, all Lu Mianmian's scenes have been filmed during the National Day, so you have to work more overtime these days. Mu Mingxiu turned her head in disbelief. Why? Why does she have to take me as a supporting role when she wants to finish the filming? What kind of thing is she? Director smoking a cigarette, she has a background. Mu Mingxiu's expression was uncertain. After a while, she asked coldly, who is Lu Mianmian's backstage? Don't know. Anyway, you can't afford to provoke it, so hurry up and prepare. You have the most scenes with her opponents. After she finishes filming, I will give you a few days off. Mu Mingxiu left and returned. Lu Mianmian guarded her slightly. Soon the assistant director came in to inform her of the filming time. After listening to Lu Mianmian, she was very surprised. Really? It would be great to be able to work overtime during the National Day to finish filming, not only to avoid Mu Mingxiu, but also to avoid Hisuomu. She just wanted to jump up and applaud. On the sofa, Shen Shenxing hooked his lips and continued to look at the phone. Shen Shenxing's eyes narrowed slightly. Lu Mianmian entered the fitting room to change clothes. After a long while, Shen Shenxing recovered. Mu Mingxiu approached with a slight smile. She stretched out her hand. Hello, I'm Mu Mingxiu, are you Mianmian's friend? The boy on the sofa glanced at her lightly, without moving. He even closed his eyes and fell asleep, with an attitude of not thinking about people. Mu Mingxiu bit her lip, never feeling so embarrassed, but no man has ever been able to escape her palm. Mu Mingxiu took a deep breath and tried to be gentle. Don't you want to give me a contact information, little brother? She bowed close to Shen Shenxing. The strong perfume filled the small space. Little brother is very handsome, I don't know when it's night. His face was flat, but what he said was merciless. Mu Mingxiu blushed with anger, and slammed out the door. Lu Mianmian changed her clothes and came out. She was startled by the sound of the door slamming. She stretched her neck and looked around, then looked back at Shen Shenxing. Shen Shenxing's trousers and clothes were a bit messy, and the belt was exposed. He casually ripped off his clothes and raised his head, after changing. He had already resisted the girl's face, but he still couldn't resist her graceful body. The line on the chest is ups and downs, and the waist is full of strength, and it can be wrapped with one hand. From the side, the visual impact is even greater. Dressed in an exquisite red dress, she is as beautiful as a married bride, indescribably beautiful. After a long while, the word "law" finally popped out of his mouth. Lu Mianmian rolled her eyes and smiled. She took the skirt and turned around. Is it beautiful? Lu Mianmian turned around happily. This is my first time acting, and I don't know if I can perfectly interpret concubine Xiao to the audience. Shen Shenxing was shocked. His expression was flat. Are you nervous? I'm very nervous. Lu Mianmian took a deep breath and let it out again. Mu Mingxiu turned around and glared at Shen Shenxing. After walking away, Lu Mianmian asked him curiously, Did you accidentally offend her just now? Lu Mian turned her head and met Shen Shengxing's half-smiling eyes. Shen Shenzing approached her and exhaled softly, "Want to know? If you want to know, I can teach you when I go back in the evening." Lu Mian looked away shyly, listening to his tone. She knew it was definitely not a good thing. "I don't want to know," she said dryly. The girl's pace suddenly quickened, and after a while she walked in front of Shen Shenzing, leaving him with a graceful back and figure. Shen Shenzing looked at her and smiled. Lu Mian has already started filming. She is standing in the middle of the crowd, a hint of arrogance on her beautiful and cold face. Concubine Xiao is proud and arrogant by nature, no one in the palace dares to provoke her. Even concubines who were more advanced than her in the palace had to politely call her sister Xiao. Although Lu Mian was acting for the first time, fortunately she worked hard and studied it for a long time during military training. Even the director was stunned, never expected that there would be actors with acting skills in the crew. The director slightly changed her image. Although there is a backstage, there seems to be something in the stomach. Lu Mian was in a hurry and barely had a rest all day. The sun was shining, she stood in the sun for a long time to shoot the location, and a thin layer of sweat soon appeared on her face. After she finished filming, the makeup artist immediately came up to touch up her makeup. The makeup artist carefully wiped off the sweat on the tip of her nose and asked her tentatively, Mian, is that little brother your boyfriend?" The makeup artist was pushed by Mu Mingxiu. At this time, seeing Lu Mian, who was well behaved and obedient, was like seeing a fairy from heaven and earth, and quickly became intimate with her. Lu Mian looked at Shen Shenzing, who was sitting beside him bored and playing with his mobile phone. He seemed to dislike mobile phones for not being fun, staring at the screen listlessly, only occasionally typing a few words to reply to the other party. Seemingly aware of her gaze, Shen Shenzing raised his head slightly and raised his eyebrows. Lu Mian looked back, "No." The makeup artist saw Shen Shenzing get up and come over from the corner of his light, and immediately closed his mouth and concentrated on her makeup. A shadow covered the sun above Lu Mian's head. She raised her head, stood up and asked Shen Shenzing, "Why are you here? Didn't you just call me?" A teasing smile slid across his eyes. Lu Mian choked, then lifted the skirt and muttered, "No." She was about to go over to shoot the next scene. Shen Shenzing quickly reached out and grabbed her wrist. Lu Mian turned back blankly, and heard a casual voice from the young man, "Take a rest when you are tired." "I'm fine." Lu Mian wore a lot of clothes, and the clothes inside were already wet with sweat. At this time, she was sticking to her body and was not used to it, but she could only endure and persevere in order to film. "I didn't see Hisuomu all afternoon," she was relieved, but she couldn't help but feel a little scared. Lu Mian just wanted to finish the filming quickly, and then politely tell Luo Fang not to participate in any activities related to Hisuomu and Mu Mingxiu. For her own life, she is also responsible for Shen Shenzing. Shen Shenzing annoyed Hisuomu. If the other party retaliates against him, how should she help the helpless teenager? Shen Shenzing was stunned for a while, then let go of her hand. "Well." The boy's eyes flashed slightly, and the black pupils were like a thick fog that couldn't be blown, covering the emotions in his heart. "I ran into Mu Mingxiu Heaton today, and tried 2 or 3 rival scenes. Mu Mingxiu has no acting skills, and Lu Mian is a newcomer. She abandons her distracting thoughts and carefully interprets and shapes her character. After a few scenes, the effect is a bit better than Mu Mingxiu." After finishing work at 10 o'clock in the evening, Lu Mian took off her makeup and changed into her costume, and she was in an unprecedentedly bright mood. She pulled up her sweat-soaked hair and tied it behind her head, revealing a piece of snow-white skin on the back of her neck. Lu Mian smiled and was about to run towards him with a jog. Mu Mingxiu held her back, squinting her eyes and threatening her in a very low voice, "You are also proud of these few days." "Sorry, I don't know what you're talking about." Lu Mian didn't want to talk to her, and didn't want to have too much entanglement with her. She shook off Mu Mingxiu's hand, quickly ran to Shen Shenxing, and stood still. What would you like to eat? I'll treat you. Lu Mian grabbed the strap in front of her with both hands, and said embarrassedly, you stayed with me for a day, and I haven't thanked you properly yet. Anything is fine except hot pot. Shen Shenxing said with a smile. Lu Mian knew that he was deliberately making fun of herself. Her thin ears flew a blush, and she said with no confidence, then let's eat barbecue. I heard from friends that the grilled skewers at the back door of the school are particularly delicious, cheap and delicious. Lu Mian's beautiful almond eyes were bright. When she talked about the excitement, her two greasy little hands gestured quickly in the air, and she wanted to give Shen Shenxing something to taste immediately. N. Shen Shenxing responded, listening quietly, and finally a faint smile appeared in his casual expression. Extremely shallow, yet inexplicably gentle. Lu Mian followed him into the car. Shen Shenxing's slender and beautiful hands rested on the steering wheel. The cold white complexion was unbelievably beautiful in the light. She watched secretly for a while, then looked down at her hand. How can a man have more beautiful hands than a girl? His hands were large, with slender knuckles and neatly clipped nails, as neat as his character. Luo Fang called to ask Lu Mian's shooting situation. Lu Mian replied in a very low voice, it's good. Luo Fang was relieved. She said on the phone, I heard that your schedule has been adjusted, although I don't know who did it, but you can finish the film as soon as possible and go back to study. Her character is a little fairy with a high IQ and a master of Buddhism, and you must always keep your image in mind. Lu Mian keenly noticed that Shen Shenxing's hand on the steering wheel moved and tapped, as if he was thinking seriously. There was a trace of embarrassment in her heart. Wouldn't he hear? The voice on the phone was a bit loud. Lu Mian quietly covered her phone, and her voice was low and low, I know Sister Fang. Luo Fang glanced at the phone and couldn't help turning up the volume. Would you like to just talk to me in ventriloquism? Lu Mian was stunned, and quickly returned to normal, sorry, Sister Fang. She spoke softly and had a well-behaved attitude. Luo Fang couldn't help laughing, okay, today's filming is hard, you should go back and rest early. Be careful. Okay, Miss Fang. Lu Mian put away her phone and sat next to Shen Shenxing with her back straight, not knowing what to say for a while. Celebrities are all set, but the degree is different. Does he feel that everything he has seen so far about himself is fake? Although this is not very important, there is always something bad about being deceived. Why is she just like a rabbit who is afraid of people? She keeps her head down and doesn't dare to look at others, for fear of offending them. It's extra cute. Sweet and soft like candy. After you finished the college entrance examination, what did you do in the summer vacation? Shen Shenxing asked aloud. Lu Mian looked over. He seemed to mention something casually, and there was not much concern on his casual face. Lu Mian frowned and thought for a while, I've been staying at home and haven't gone anywhere. Nowhere. Shen Shenxing raised his eyebrows. Lu Mian was stunned for a moment, and she said cautiously, I have a serious illness, so I spent some time in the hospital. Shen Shenxing's hand holding the steering wheel slowly tightened, anything else? Where's the bar? Have you been to the bar? He didn't know what he was expecting either. After asking this sentence, his heart that had been silent for many years became inexplicably nervous. Lu Mian thought for a while, then nodded, I've been there. Before Shen Shenxing could react, his body took a step ahead of his head and let out a light breath. Lu Mian stared blankly at his profile, have we met before? What do you think? The boy curled the corners of his lips, smiling a little frivolously. He laughed badly and ruffian. Lu Mian thought that he might still be a little more refined. She looked back, I don't know. She didn't remember and it didn't hinder Shen Shenxing's happy mood. After she stopped the car in front of the barbecue shop, Lu Mian opened the door and jumped out. She walked quickly to the barbecue shop, picking up the small plates. Food. Shen Shenxing took the car key and walked to her side. Lu Mian asked him, "What do you want to eat?" "You are welcome." Shen Shenxing glanced at her, and really chose more than a dozen meat and vegetables. Lu Mian gave the money and asked the boss to put in less chili, and sat down with Shen Shenxing on the small stool by the road. After 10 o'clock, the food street at the back door was still lively, with neon lights flashing non-stop, and the heat of the food curling up under the lights, full of the atmosphere of human fireworks. Lu Mian is a bit stunned at ordinary times. She always looks like she has a slow response, and she is also a little cold, and she is full of words about rejecting people thousands of miles away. At this moment, the steaming white smoke was circling and rising behind her, and a word popped out of Shen Shenxing's head inexplicably, "Little fairy." Shen Shenxing lowered his eyes, his expression unclear. Lu Mian was looking happy. She pointed to the octopus ball next to her and said to Shen Shenxing, "After the barbecue, let's go buy another box of that." "Are you finished?" Shen Shenxing lifted his eyelids, neither agreed nor refused. The girl didn't realize what was wrong with her words. She continued to look around, and she was very curious to see everything. During the military training, she hadn't finished eating every restaurant in the back street with Cheng Xin and the others. They had agreed to check in and eat every gourmet restaurant near the school in the first semester. Lu Mian thought expectantly, today she and Shen Shenxing checked in the barbecue restaurant and the small ball restaurant. Where should they go with Cheng Xin in the future? She was unaware of the boys' gaze, as well as the surprised or amazed glances of the students who came and went. Shen Shenxing was known to everyone in the school. Even a freshman got to know Shen Shenxing under the popular science of friends and seniors, and even got his photo. Lu Mian is even more famous among the freshmen. The two went out to eat together in the middle of the night, and someone quietly took a few pictures. "I met senior Shen Shenxing and Lu Mian in the back street. I'm sour. How are they fat? Is it in love? No, why did I fall out of love when I went to college?" The boss brought the barbecue. Lu Mian took out a pair of chopsticks and handed it to Shen Shenxing. Shen Shenxing took it slowly. Lu Mian politely pushed the plate to the center. "Eat it." She ate less than 10 mouthfuls, and put down her chopsticks under Shen Shenxing's expressionless gaze. "I'm full." Women change from kittens? The barbecue in front of Shen Shenxing hardly decreased. He ate for a few minutes, and more people came to eat the barbecue. Shen Shenxing glanced, slowly put down his chopsticks, and pulled up Lu Mian. "Let's go. There are also octopus balls." Lu Mian looked back at the shop with a face full of reluctance. Shen Shenxing paused and followed her back to buy small balls. "I'm full, how can I eat anything else?" Lu Mian chatted with Shen Shenxing while waiting for the little ball. When the small ball was ready, she took 2 bamboo sticks, and after inserting a small ball into the bamboo stick, she handed it to Shen Shenxing. "Here it is." Shen Shenxing put his hands in his trouser pockets. "I'm full." The girl looked at him without speaking. Her eyes were bright, her cheeks bulged slightly, and her expression was a little unhappy. Shen Shenxing moved his fingers in his pocket and took the bamboo stick in her hand. Lu Mian burst into laughter, and did not forget to remind him, "The you just made are very hot, be careful." She buried her head in one, pouted and blew, carefully put it into her mouth, closed her eyes and chewed and breathed, "It's so hot, so hot." Lu Mian was so scalded that she stomped her feet, an ethereal mist floated in her eyes, and her eyes were hazy with tears. Shen Shenxing stared at Xiao Wanzi, unable to speak. Lu Mian swallowed hard. "Why don't you eat it?" "Eat it." He put the whole expressionless face into his mouth, his casual expression cracked. Lu Mian laughed happily beside her, her laughter was as crisp as a bell. Lu Mian held the carton in her hand, blowing and eating. Shen Shenxing didn't eat anything. she couldn't resist, so she had to solve it by herself. He quietly accompanied Lu Mian and walked quietly. Shen Shenxing turned his eyes and stopped suddenly. Lu Mian turned back. Why didn't you leave? Shen Shenxing stood on the spot, his expression was tight, his face was gloomy, his dark eyes were like 1,000 years of ice, cold and gloomy. Lu Mian followed his line of sight, and a middle-aged man in a suit walked over quickly. The expression on his face was very angry, he stared at Shen Shenxing stubbornly, and raised his arms to hit him as soon as he came over. The middle-aged man raised his hand in the air, Lu Mian's body reacted before his head, and raised his hand to block Shen Shenxing. She closed her eyes subconsciously, her face wrinkled into a ball, looking like she was too scared. Before the opponent's slap fell, Shen Shenxing was firmly caught in the air, unable to move. Under the dim street light, the girl's white palm was raised in the air, casting a small deep shadow on Shen Shenxing's handsome face.